Hey guys, back with another fanfic. This is what if Naruto awakened a leveling system. If this video gets 20 likes, part 2 will be up ASAP, but without further ado let's begin. Sorry, Naruto, you failed again, came the voice of Iruka Yumino. What? How? I tried my best, Naruto shouted, his voice trembling with frustration. Naruto, Iruka snapped, unable to hold back his frustration anymore. He was fed up with Naruto's impulsive, overconfident behavior. Naruto froze. This wasn't just another scolding. This was different. There was something in Iruka's tone that made his heart sink. Disappointment. Real, deep disappointment. It hit harder than any lecture or punishment ever had. Wake up, Naruto, Iruka continued, his voice stern. This isn't child's play. You're overconfident in abilities you don't actually have. Your chakra control is zero. Your theory knowledge is non-existent. You barely pay attention in class, when you bother to show up at all. You don't work hard, but you expect everything to just be handed to you. If you keep going like this, you won't become a genin. Forget even dreaming about being Hokage. Naruto's face twisted in frustration. Hey, I will become Hokage, he yelled back, his pride wounded. HMPH, Iruka scoffed. No one wants a Hokage who lacks discipline, skills, and self-awareness. You won't even graduate if this keeps up. Naruto's defiance faded, and he lowered his head, disappointment flooding his chest. Then, Iruka's tone softened. Naruto, he said gently, try to understand why I'm saying this. No ninja becomes strong without training and hard work. And right now, you're lacking both. Naruto clenched his fists, but others like Sasuke, they do it so easily. Why can't I? Because he trains, really trains. He doesn't sit around pretending he's already strong. He puts in the effort when no one's watching. Others do the same, Iruka explained. They don't let dreams replace hard work. So, if I train, can I become strong? Naruto asked, hope breaking through the frustration in his voice. Iruka smiled slightly, his tone firm but encouraging. Definitely, Naruto, you have a 6-month break now. Use it, think about yourself, your behavior, your choices. Do you even understand the repercussions of your actions? He paused, letting the words sink in. Everything is graded, not just your jutsu or test scores, but your attitude, your discipline. In class, you're loud and disruptive. You act before thinking. I know why you do it, but you have to start thinking about others. Put yourself in their shoes. How do you think they feel when you're reckless and loud? When you don't take anything seriously? Naruto looked down, the weight of Iruka's words starting to settle in. Even if you graduate later, Iruka continued, you won't be promoted if this continues. The council watches everything. They help decide promotions, along with the Hokage and even other Kage when the time comes. Wait, isn't it the Hokage who does the promotions? Naruto asked, confused. Not alone, Iruka replied. The council has a say, too. Especially for higher missions and ranks. Your record follows you. So, what should I do now? Naruto asked, more quietly this time. Iruka looked him in the eyes. Think about yourself, your behavior. Think before you act. I know why you try to get attention, but all it brings is negativity. In the future, even if you do great things, people will still remember the bad if you don't change. That reputation can stick with you. He placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. And most importantly, train. Don't think you can become Hokage without working harder than anyone else. Naruto nodded solemnly. Yes, sensei, he said, and turned to leave, deep in thought. This is the situation of our blonde-haired ninja, who had tried to graduate before his peers, hoping it would bring him closer to his dream of becoming Hokage. He took the exam with seniors, aiming to prove himself. But he failed, utterly. He couldn't even perform a basic clone jutsu or replacement technique. The gap between his dream and his reality had never felt wider. But for the first time, he understood that it wasn't about talent. It was about effort. Good. Now go home, Naruto, Iruka said, his tone stern and unwavering. Think, and really reflect, on yourself during these 6 months. I know you haven't even opened the scrolls the other teachers gave you. He paused, his eyes serious. Use this time to learn what you lack. If you want help, you can come to me. I will help you, but if you don't change, if you keep acting the same way. Iruka's voice lowered, almost like a warning. Then don't expect anything from me. Yes, sensei, Naruto said quietly, and left the academy. As he walked home, Naruto once again felt the cold, hateful stares from the villagers. Their eyes were sharp, full of resentment. He didn't understand why. He never had. Some even muttered under their breath, "That boy, he's the reason the fourth is dead." The death of the Yondaime. Naruto didn't know what they meant. How could he be responsible for the death of his hero? Before he could process it, something struck his back, a rock. Then another. A stick hit his shoulder. He turned around and saw a few villagers forming a small mob, glaring, shouting. "Get out of here, demon. You think we've forgotten?" Naruto didn't wait. He turned and ran, fast. He didn't want to be beaten again. Didn't want to feel the pain. The fear. And if there was one thing Naruto could do well, it was run. Not even the Anbu could catch him when he vandalized the Hokage monument, well, except for the fourth's face. He never touched that one. He couldn't. The Yondaime was his idol, his dream. Naruto wanted to be just like him, the greatest Hokage who ever lived. He finally reached his apartment, slammed the door behind him, and collapsed on his bed, breathing heavily. "Phew, that's enough for today," he muttered to himself. But his mind wasn't at peace. Baruka's words echoed in his head, refusing to fade. He stood up and went to the corner where he had tossed a pile of untouched scrolls from his time at the academy. Dust-covered, forgotten, until now. He picked up the one from Kido-sensei, one of his instructors. He unrolled it quickly. Blank. Naruto blinked in disbelief. He opened another. Then another. Blank. All of them. He scrambled, frantically tearing through the box. Out of nearly 50 scrolls from various instructors, almost all were completely empty. Only the scrolls from Iruka had actual content, and even those were just theory. History. Chakra basics. Nothing practical. Naruto sat down, frozen. The realization hit him hard. The hatred he'd felt in the village, it wasn't just out there. It had crept into the academy, too. The cold looks, the dismissive tones from instructors, he had always thought it was because of his behavior. But now he saw the truth. They hated him, just like the villagers did. They hadn't ignored him because he was loud or silly. They had sabotaged him. The anguish, the pain, the betrayal. It all hit Naruto at once. He clenched the empty scrolls in his fists, his body trembling. Something wet slid down his cheeks. He touched his face, tears. He was crying. He didn't even know when it started, but now he couldn't stop. Deep, aching sobs racked his small body, tears falling freely. All the hatred, all the lies, all the isolation. He curled up on his bed, arms wrapped tightly around himself, trying to hold together the pieces of his heart that had shattered. "Why me?" he whispered through the tears. "What did I ever do?" Slowly, the exhaustion overtook him. His sobs quieted, his breathing steadied. Darkness began to pull him into sleep. But just before the void fully claimed him, something strange happened. A faint chime echoed in the silence of his room. A glowing notification appeared in front of him, a screen of light, hovering in the air. Legacy system activated. User: Uzumaki Naruto. Status: rejected by society, emotionally fractured, potential untapped. You have been chosen by the legacy system. Do you want to become strong? Yes, no. Naruto's half-conscious mind barely registered what he was seeing. Was he dreaming? Was this some kind of genjutsu? His hand twitched. His heart, broken and bleeding, whispered what his lips didn't say. Yes. He didn't even realize he had touched the screen, but a final soft chime sounded as it faded into him. Acknowledged. Welcome, Naruto. Your legacy begins now. And then, nothing. Naruto drifted into sleep, unaware that his world had just begun to change forever. Naruto stirred, his body aching, his mind foggy. He began to wake slowly, until he heard two voices in the distance, calm, warm, and strangely familiar. "Look, Kushina, he really is a mini-me," a cheerful male voice said with a hint of pride. "Yeah," a softer, loving female voice replied. "He's grown so well." Naruto's eyes fluttered open, but this wasn't his apartment. He was in a vast space with no clear walls, no floor, just endless light and soft, swirling yellow clouds stretching out forever in every direction. He heard the voices behind him again. Slowly, cautiously, he turned around. And froze. Standing before him were two people. A tall man with spiky blonde hair and kind blue eyes, dressed in a white cloak with red flames. And beside him, a woman with long, flowing red hair and vibrant violet eyes. Naruto's breath caught in his throat. "Why yo, Yondaime-sama, he said, his voice trembling with disbelief. Before he could process anything further, the red-haired woman rushed forward and wrapped her arms around him in a tight, overwhelming hug. Naruto stiffened. Excuse me, ma'am," he asked awkwardly, not sure how to react. Kushina pulled back slightly, seeing the confusion and tension on his face. "What's wrong, Naruto?" she asked softly, her eyes full of concern. "Why are you so tense?" Naruto looked away, his voice barely above a whisper. "Because no one's ever hugged me like that before. No one's ever shown me any affection. Not since I was a baby. Only Jiji, the third Hokage, and Tsuki and Ayame at Ichiraku Ramen ever treated me like a real person." Both Minato and Kushina went completely still. Their eyes widened in shock. "What do you mean?" Kushina asked, her voice shaking. Naruto looked at them, his eyes full of pain. "I don't know why, but the whole village hates me. They glare at me, some even throw rocks at me. I've heard people whisper that I'm the reason the fourth Hokage died. Do you hate me too? Because I caused your deaths?" Kushina's eyes filled with tears. Minato stepped forward, his expression serious. "No, Naruto, we don't hate you. We could never hate you," he said firmly. He knelt down so they were eye to eye. "And as for why the village treats you like that, I think it's time you knew the truth." Minato took a deep breath. "Do you know about the Nine Tails attack? The night the Kyuubi attacked the village?" Naruto nodded. "Yeah, everyone knows that story. You defeated it by sacrificing yourself, right?" Minato's expression darkened slightly. "Not exactly, Naruto. The Kyuubi can't be killed. It's a living mass of chakra, a force of nature. You can't destroy something like that. You can only seal it." Naruto's eyes widened. Minato looked down. "And I sealed it inside you." It took a moment for the words to truly sink in. And when they did, they hit Naruto like a bolt of lightning. His breathing quickened, his hands trembled, then came the anger. You, he stammered, voice shaking. "You destroyed my life." His words came fast, tumbling out, loaded with pain. "You're the reason the village hates me. You're the reason I've been alone all these years. No one loves me, no one even sees me as human." His fists clenched, tears streaming down his cheeks as his voice rose in anguish. "I looked up to you. You were my hero, but the one I admired the most, the one I wanted to be like, was the one who ruined my life." Each word struck like a blade, and Minato flinched as if physically hit. His lips parted, but no sound came out. His eyes shimmered, tears threatening to fall. Because of you they call me a monster, a demon." Naruto screamed. Minato took a step forward, trying to speak, but nothing came. The pain in his son's voice stole the breath from his lungs. Before the silence could stretch any further, Kushina moved quickly between them. Her voice was soft, but firm, gentle, yet unwavering. "Don't speak to your father like that, Naruto." Naruto froze. "Father," he echoed, stunned. Kushina nodded, her eyes filled with both sorrow and love. "Yes, Minato Namikaze is your father, and I'm your mother." Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto stood in place, eyes wide, disbelief written all over his face. I have parents." Kushina stepped closer, tears spilling freely now. "Yes, baby, you were never unloved. We loved you more than anything. We dreamed of watching you grow up, seeing your first steps, hearing your first words, walking you to your first day at the academy." Her voice broke, but she kept going. "We wanted to be there when you graduated, when you wore your headband for the first time. But we weren't, and for that, we're so sorry." She reached out, cupping his cheek gently. "But even from afar, even in death, we've always been proud of you." Naruto's lips trembled. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know if he should feel anger, grief, or joy. All he knew was, for the first time in his life, someone had called him baby, and meant it. "Are you really my parents?" Naruto asked, his voice trembling, eyes wide with hope and uncertainty. Minato stepped forward, his voice soft but steady. "Yes, Naruto, we are." Kushina nodded, kneeling beside him. "We dreamed of you long before you were born. You were more precious to us than anything in the world. We didn't even hesitate to give our lives, so you could live." Naruto stared at them, the warmth in their eyes, the sincerity in their voices, it all felt real. There was no trace of betrayal, no deception, only truth, and love. It broke something in him, but not in a painful way. This time, it was the weight lifting, the years of loneliness and despair finally crumbling. He began to cry, not out of anger, not from sorrow, but from the overwhelming realization that he was loved. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. Minato and Kushina said nothing either. They simply let him cry, standing by his side, holding him with the quiet understanding that sometimes, tears are freedom. Minutes passed in silence, and then, finally, Naruto looked up, his face still wet with tears, but lighter, brighter. He took a breath, and in a voice small but full of emotion, he whispered. Ka-san, Tu-san. Minato and Kushina's eyes widened. Those words, so simple, yet so sacred. They had dreamt of hearing them their whole lives. They rushed to him, wrapping their arms around him. Naruto didn't resist. He threw his arms around both of them, burying his face between their shoulders, sobbing once more, but now, in pure joy. Tears rolled down all three of their faces, but this time, they were healing. For those few moments, the world outside didn't matter. There was no village, no Kyuubi, no legacy, only a family, finally united. They slowly broke the embrace, though the warmth of it lingered in their hearts. Kushina smiled, brushing her fingers through Naruto's hair. We're so proud of you, Naruto. You've grown so well, even when you had no one by your side. Naruto's expression faltered, his smile faded, he looked down. But, will you still be proud of me even after knowing I failed the academy? He asked quietly. Twice. Kushina blinked in surprise. Minato raised an eyebrow. Failed? What do you mean, Naruto? With your potential, you should have passed easily. Naruto's voice cracked slightly as he responded. I don't know, I can't even do simple jutsu. My clone technique, when I try, they look like corpses. I can't do a proper replacement jutsu either. There's a whole list of things I can't do. He sighed, his shoulders slumping. I'm talentless. Everyone else gets it so easily. I thought things would just happen for me. But nothing ever does. Minato placed a hand gently on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto, listen to me. It's okay to fail. What matters is that you keep trying. We're proud of you not because you succeed, but because even after everything, you're still trying. But, how can you be proud of someone who's not good at anything? Naruto asked, his voice barely a whisper. Kushina stepped in beside him, resting her hand on his other shoulder. Because you're you, Naruto. Our son. That's all that matters to us. Naruto looked up, eyes wide and full of emotion. Minato gently asked, why didn't you ask your teachers for help? Naruto hesitated before answering. I did, or at least I tried. Iruka-sensei's the only one who's ever truly helped me. I opened the scrolls the other teachers gave me, but almost all of them were blank. Only Iruka's had anything useful in them. Minato and Kushina froze. Their expressions darkened. Sabotage. It was something neither of them ever expected to hear in the Ninja Academy, especially against their own son. Anger flickered in their eyes. They wanted to storm the village and demand answers. But they couldn't. Not from here. Minato took a calming breath, then looked Naruto straight in the eyes. Don't worry, Naruto. That ends now. We're here, Kushina added, her voice firm with resolve. We'll train you ourselves. We'll help you reach your true potential. You're not alone anymore, Minato said. From this moment on, we'll guide you. Every step of the way. Kushina grinned, that old fiery spark in her gaze. Sochi, in the coming years, you're going to become a shinobi the whole world will fear and respect. Thanks, Ka-san, Tu-san, Naruto said quietly, the warmth of the words still unfamiliar on his tongue. Then something clicked in his mind. Wait, if you're the fourth Hokage, that means the third, Gigi, knew who you were, right? I asked him so many times about my parents. He always just said they were great shinobi, who died for the village. Minato's smile faded slightly, his voice became thoughtful, edged with regret. Naruto, don't blame Hiruzen. We asked him to keep your identity a secret. Your mother and I made a lot of enemies, dangerous ones. If anyone found out you were our son, they'd come after you without hesitation. Kushina nodded in agreement, though her tone was more firm. Still, he should have told you the truth when the time was right. You deserved to know. Keeping you safe shouldn't have meant keeping you in the dark. Naruto nodded slowly, finally understanding the weight of the decision, but the pain of loneliness still lingered. Then, suddenly, a soft chime echoed around them. A glowing screen shimmered into existence before Naruto. Status window, legacy system. Name, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Status, civilian. Chakra level, near infinite. Chakra control, non-existent. Intelligence, 5. Strength. 6. Speed. 10. Agility. 8. Reflexes. 7. Taijutsu. 3. Ninjutsu. 2. Genjutsu. 0. Fuinjutsu. Ceiling. 0. Naruto stared at it, blinking. Whoa, he whispered. This is me. Minato folded his arms, examining the screen with a nod. See, Naruto, you have incredible chakra, your potential is off the charts. But your control, your skills, they need a lot of work. And that's okay, Kushina added, placing a hand on his shoulder. Because now, you're not alone. We'll help you train. We'll build you up from the ground. Naruto clenched his fists, a renewed fire burning in his eyes. I promise, I won't slack anymore. I'll train hard every day. I'll improve. I'll become someone worthy of being your son. He looked up, conviction shining in his gaze. That's my ninja way. Minato smiled proudly. Good. That's what I like to hear. Just then, another window appeared beside the status screen. Health and nutrition scan. Legacy system. Name. Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Health. Max sustained by Kyuubi's regenerative chakra. Nutrition. Undernourished. Lacks essential nutrients. Diet consists almost entirely of instant ramen. Recommendation. Balanced diet required for optimal chakra development. Warning. Over-reliance on Kyuubi healing masks physical deficiencies. Minato knelt beside Naruto, his expression serious. Naruto, if you want to become strong, your training can't just be physical or chakra-based. Your body needs to be taken care of. Right now, you're severely undernourished. Naruto scratched his head, sheepish. But, I love ramen. Kushina laughed warmly, then ruffled his hair. We love ramen too, Sochi. But even we didn't eat it every day. You're not in trouble for loving ramen, she added gently, but if that's all you eat, your body won't grow properly. Even the Kyuubi can't fix malnutrition. A soft chime sounded, and the system interface displayed a new message. Nutritional upgrade unlocked. Daily recommended intake calculated. New mission. Build a balanced diet plan. Reward. 1 chakra control, 1 vitality. New passive skill. Efficient digestion. The system will now help you with a diet plan, Kushina explained. It'll tell you what to eat and when. You don't have to give up ramen completely, just balance it with real food. Naruto nodded slowly, then frowned. But the villagers don't sell me anything decent. They either ignore me or sell me spoiled stuff for triple the price. Minato's eyes darkened, his hand clenched, but he kept his tone calm. That's not right, you shouldn't have to suffer like that. He glanced at Kushina, she crossed her arms. Then don't rely on the shops. You're a shinobi in training, start thinking like one. Minato nodded. Why not use the transformation jutsu, Naruto? The henge. It can help you blend in and avoid those shopkeepers' prejudice. Naruto slapped his forehead. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. Kushina smirked. And if that doesn't work, or if you don't want to deal with people at all, go hunting. Hunting. Naruto blinked. Yes, she said, it's an essential shinobi skill. On long missions, you'll often need to forage or hunt to survive. Learning it now will help you later. Naruto nodded, understanding dawning in his eyes. Right, I can find food in the forest, and maybe learn to cook too. Exactly, Minato said with a proud smile. Learn to cook, preserve meat, forage for herbs. All that will help your body, and your chakra system, develop properly. Naruto, Minato said firmly, from now on, during these 6 months, you'll follow a structured routine. A system screen appeared beside him, displaying a glowing timetable. Each morning, you'll follow the physical training plan set by the system. It's designed to build your strength, stamina, speed, and chakra flow. Kushina stepped beside him, arms crossed but smiling proudly. At noon, we'll begin your chakra theory lessons, starting from the very basics, chakra nature, molding, control exercises, hand seals, all of it. And I'll be teaching you Fuinjutsu, along with Bojutsu and possibly Kenjutsu, if you're ready. Naruto blinked. Fuinjutsu, what's that? Kushina's eyes lit up with pride. The art of sealing. It's one of the most powerful and versatile ninja skills out there. With it, you can seal chakra, people, weapons, even time or space under the right conditions. Our clan, she added, was feared across the nations for our mastery of sealing. It was one of the reasons they destroyed us. Naruto's eyebrows rose. Wait, clan, you mean, the Uzumaki clan? Kushina nodded solemnly. Yes, we came from a village called Uzushiogakure, the village hidden by whirling tides. It was once a powerful ally of Konoha. Then, why am I in Konoha? Kushina's voice softened. Our clan was wiped out years ago. Only a handful of survivors remained. I was sent to Konoha to become the next Jinchuriki, just like my grandmother, Mito Uzumaki, the wife of the first Hokage. Naruto's eyes widened. Wait, if Mito was the first Hokage's wife, and you're her granddaughter, doesn't that mean you're kinda royalty? Kushina chuckled, but Minato stepped in with a firmer tone. Technically, yes, and that means you are too. But don't let it get to your head, Naruto. Pride can quickly turn into arrogance, and that would be your downfall. Naruto nodded seriously. Understood, Dad. Good. Kushina grinned. Now, as for taijutsu, we'll both train you in Uzumaki style, which uses flexibility, chain techniques, and enhanced chakra flow. And your father has his own style, built around speed, unpredictability, and momentum shifts in ninjutsu. We will teach you based on your affinity. It will take time. If you have strong foundation, you can quickly learn ninjutsu. Sounds awesome, Naruto beamed. Then Minato's tone shifted once again. Naruto, you must promise, never tell anyone about the system or that you've met us, not even Hiruzen. I promise, Dad, I won't tell anyone, not even Gigi. Minato and Kushina both smiled and nodded. Good, we're trusting you with this, Naruto, Kushina said. So, how do I find you again when I wake up? Naruto asked. It's simple, Minato explained. Just think about me or your mother. Focus on us with intention, and the system will bring you back into this inner realm. And after 6 months, Minato looked thoughtful. We'll plan for that when the time comes. For now, focus on rebuilding yourself. Kushina added gently, don't worry, Sochi. We're with you now. You won't be alone again. Naruto's eyes welled up, but this time it wasn't pain, it was gratitude. The morning sunlight streamed through the cracks in the blinds, landing directly on Naruto's face. He stirred, groaning softly as he rubbed his eyes and sat up groggily. What time is it? He mumbled, still half asleep. Then it hit him, all at once. The dream, his parents, the truth, the system. Was it, real? As if in answer, a blue glowing screen appeared in front of him. Welcome, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Day 1 of Legacy System Training. Physical exercise task list. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 100 crunches, 1 full lap around Konoha. Naruto's jaw dropped. 1 lap around the whole village. I'll die before I finish that. As if the system anticipated his whining, another screen appeared. Warning. Failure to complete physical training by 12 p.m. will result in penalty quest, 10 hours of endurance drills. Naruto shuddered. Nope, I'm not doing that punishment. Okay. First, food. Right on cue, another screen popped up. Nutritional plan activated. Breakfast. 3 eggs boiled or fried. 2 strips of bacon, whole wheat bread, fresh sprouts. Lunch. Bento rice, chicken curry, veggies. Dinner. Grilled chicken, rice, leafy greens, cutlet. Note. For the next few days, meals will be provided directly via system storage until the user develops hunting and cooking skills. Naruto blinked. Wah! Food delivered by the system. He turned his head, and sure enough, a steaming hot plate of food now sat neatly on his old, dusty dining table. Oh man, real food. He bolted to the bathroom, brushed his teeth like a speedster, took the fastest shower of his life, and practically flew back to the table. Itadakimasu, he yelled, digging in with joy. After finishing his breakfast, Naruto stood up, stretched his arms, and looked at the task list again. Alright, I'll do the push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, and squats right here in the apartment. He dropped to the floor and began. 9 a.m. 10 push-ups. 20, 30, 10 a.m. sit-ups finished. Legs shaking, sweat pouring. 11 a.m. squats and crunches done. Arms like jelly. By the time he finally stood up, his body aching all over, the clock read 10:02 a.m. His eyes widened in horror. What? It's already 10. I only have 2 hours left for the lap around Konoha. Panic surged through him. Without a second thought, he grabbed his jacket, opened the window, and leapt out of his apartment, landing on the roof below and then bolting toward the edge of the village. He ran. He passed the marketplace, the academy, the Hokage monument, and the training grounds. 11:30 a.m., sweat drenched his clothes, his breathing ragged, and he still had half the village left to circle. No, come on, Naruto. Move, he growled to himself, pushing his legs harder. His vision blurred. His throat burned, every part of him screamed to stop. 11:55 a.m., he was nearly there. Just one final stretch left. But time was merciless. 12 p.m., Naruto's foot landed near the border of the training ground, still a quarter lap away from completion. Suddenly, a blinding light engulfed him, and then, he vanished. Suddenly, Naruto appeared in the middle of a dense forest. The trees towered over him, their shadows long and eerie under a gray sky. A glowing red notification blinked before him. Penalty round activated. Failure to complete mandatory task on time detected. Task: dodge an endless barrage of kunai and shuriken. Duration: 10 hours. Rules: 1 hit does not kill, but too many will. Pain is real. Objective: survive, learn, endure. Penalty ends upon countdown completion. Before Naruto could even finish reading, a sharp whistle tore through the air. He instinctively ducked as a kunai embedded itself into the tree behind him. TCH, this is real. He spun on his heel, another shuriken, this time from the left. He dodged again. For the first hour, Naruto found it manageable. Only 1 or 2 projectiles came at a time. He leapt, ducked, rolled, laughing even. Hey, this isn't so bad. Whoa. By the 4th hour, the pace had doubled. 10 shuriken at once. Some grazed his arms, 1 cut across his cheek. Sweat poured from his brow. By the 8th hour, Naruto was battered, bruised, and bleeding. His shirt was torn. A kunai had embedded into his shoulder. He pulled it out with a cry. The forest echoed with the shrill hiss of steel, kunai and shuriken raining down like a storm from every direction. I can't move anymore, he gasped, stumbling behind a tree. He looked up at the sky. No sun, no moon, just the clock floating overhead. 0 hours 0 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. But the final seconds felt like torture. Every second dragged, each one feeling like an eternity. Come on, you stupid clock, move. Naruto shouted, ducking a spinning shuriken that clipped his leg. He limped, gritted his teeth, dove again. Just a little more. Come on, come on, come on. The last wave came, a massive wall of kunai. He raised his arms in defense, bracing for the worst. 0 hours 0 minutes and 0 seconds. A flash of light, Naruto suddenly collapsed on a dirt road in Konoha, panting, bloodied, but alive. It was night. He groaned, dragging himself to his feet. His limbs ached like hell. But something in him had changed. Not strength yet, but resolve. He limped back to his apartment, each step slow and painful. When he entered, he paused. His dining table had 2 neatly arranged bento boxes, still warm. One labeled lunch, the other dinner. Naruto blinked. His vision blurred again, not from exhaustion, but from the tears he didn't let fall in the forest. Thanks, Ka-san, To-san, he whispered, sitting down. He didn't rush. He ate slowly, thoughtfully, because he had earned every bite. He went to sleep not bothering to take a bath. He forgot of his parents. He entered his system. Ka-san To-san called Naruto. They saw the bruises. Naruto, what happened? Asked Kushina with concern. Naruto chuckled. I failed to do the daily tasks, so it punished me for 10 hours. It made me to dodge kunai and shuriken, said Naruto. So that's the reason you didn't come today, said Minato, but don't worry, you can do it tomorrow. Naruto nodded. Rest, Naruto, you earned it, said Kushina. He woke up again. He saw the clock. It's 6 in morning. Okay, I need to be quick. He saw his wounds are healed. Okay, I need to be more fast. He went to bathroom, brushed his teeth, showered and ate his breakfast. He saw the clock. It's 7 o'clock. Okay, I need to finish these exercises by 9, said Naruto, seeing the screen. Welcome, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Legacy System Training. Physical exercise task list. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, 100 crunches, 1 full lap around Konoha. Warning. Failure to complete physical training by 12 p.m. will result in penalty quest, 10 hours of endurance drills. Without wasting a second, Naruto jumped into his morning routine. Push-ups, sit-ups, squats, crunches. His body still ached from yesterday's penalty, but he gritted his teeth and pushed through. By 9 a.m., he was drenched in sweat, but every set was complete. He gulped down some water, rested for a few minutes, then glanced at the clock. 9:30 a.m., time for the run. Without hesitation, he took off, running across rooftops, streets, and alleys, circling the Hidden Leaf Village. His muscles screamed. The memories of kunai storms haunted him. But his will was stronger. By the time the sun was nearing its peak, 11:55 a.m., he reached his starting point. Lap complete. A screen appeared before him, glowing softly. Congratulations, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Daily physical training complete. Status: replenished to full health. Reward: 5 stat points. Bonus: speed increased from 10-12. Would you like to distribute your stat points? Status window: legacy system. Name: Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Status: civilian. Chakra level: near infinite. Chakra control: non-existent. Intelligence: 5. Strength: 6. Speed: 12. Agility: 8. Reflexes: 7. Taijutsu: 3. Ninjutsu: 2. Genjutsu: 0. Fuinjutsu. Ceiling: 0. Naruto stood still for a moment, gazing at the glowing status screen. 5 stat points, should I put them in speed? Strength: maybe chakra control. He scratched his head, then smiled. Maybe I should ask Ka-san and Tu-san first. They'd know what's best. With that thought, he mentally dismissed the screen. The stats faded from view, but the sense of progress remained. He made his way back home, his muscles aching but his heart lighter. As he opened the door to his apartment, the familiar warm aroma hit his nose. There it was, his lunch, neatly placed on the table. Rice, curry, grilled chicken, a side of warm miso soup. Naruto blinked, smiling as he stepped inside. Looks like the system's keeping its word. He sat down, closed his eyes briefly, and whispered, "Thanks, Ka-san, Tu-san." Then he dug in, this time, not just to feed his stomach, but to fuel his future. After finishing his lunch, Naruto pushed the empty plate aside and sat down cross-legged in the middle of his room. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and focused. In an instant, he was back in his mindscape. The yellow clouded space greeted him with calm stillness. Standing before him were his parents. "So, you finally arrived," said Minato, arms crossed with a small smile. Naruto gave a sheepish grin. "Yeah, I really don't want to get showered in kunai and shuriken again." Minato chuckled lightly, while Kushina rolled her eyes playfully. "Then let's make sure it doesn't happen again." From noon till evening, Naruto sat with his parents in the glowing mental space, absorbing everything he could. Chakra theory. What it is, how it flows, how to control it. The fundamentals of being a shinobi, discipline, mindset, strategy. By the time they finished, the invisible clock in the system read 5 p.m. "Okay, Naruto," said Kushina, wiping imaginary chalk off her hands, "you've learned enough theory for today. Now it's time for something practical. Go to the forest and learn to hunt," she said seriously. Survival is part of being a shinobi too. Naruto stood and nodded. "Got it, Ka-san." With that, he mentally exited the space and opened his eyes. There was still daylight as Naruto headed into the nearby forest. He followed the system's step-by-step instructions carefully: how to remain silent, how to observe tracks, and how to approach prey without alerting it. After an hour of patience and stealth, he finally caught a rabbit. He followed the next part of the tutorial. Humanely ended it, skinned and cleaned the carcass. Fried part of the meat for dinner. Stored the rest using system-suggested preservation techniques. Disposed of the entrails far away to avoid attracting predators. The system gave him a quiet ding of approval, and Naruto smiled with pride. "Not bad for my first time." Exhausted but satisfied, Naruto returned to his apartment under the starry night. He slipped into bed, full in content, his body sore but stronger than yesterday. As he drifted into sleep, the warm, golden mist of his mental world welcomed him back. His parents were already waiting. Naruto. The Legacy System Chapter 2, Training and Whipping in Shape, a Naruto fanfic. Später 2, Training and Whipping in Shape. Naruto woke up from his sleep and rushed to the bathroom to brush his teeth and shower before beginning his training. He quickly made breakfast for himself. It had been a week since his new training routine began. Without wasting time, he started his daily exercises. By the end of the week, Naruto was able to finish his morning exercises by 11 o'clock. After taking an hour-long break, he would prepare his own meals. He brought back the meat he hunted and cooked it himself. When he needed groceries, he used the transformation jutsu to disguise himself and buy the necessary items. Even though he had changed his eating habits to be healthier, his love for ramen remained the same. He still enjoyed a bowl before dinner every day. After completing his morning training, Naruto closed his eyes to enter a meditative state and begin a mental training session with his parents. It had been a week, and they hadn't yet started any physical training like taijutsu or ninjutsu. Minato was focusing on teaching Naruto the foundational knowledge he had missed over the years. He quickly realized that Naruto had inherited Kushina's short attention span, which made keeping him focused a challenge. "Come on, Tusen, I'm bored with all this theory," Naruto whined. "Basics are just as important as physical training, Naruto. We'll finish the theory in a week. I'm not even going beyond the academy curriculum, because of your attention span. And even in the academy, you used to doze off," Minato replied with a sigh. "But theory is boring," Naruto complained. "Listen to your Tusen, Naruto," Kushina chimed in. "I didn't like theory either, but if you want to become Hokage, you need to know everything. A Hokage must be someone the people can trust and follow. They're not chosen only for their strength, but also for their wisdom and ability to lead." Naruto sighed. "Okay, fine, but please hurry up, I'm really bored." Minato smiled a little and said, "All right, Naruto. We'll stop for today, but tomorrow, you have to learn the double." No, don't skip today," Naruto interrupted quickly. Minato chuckled, then resumed the lesson, glad to see his son's enthusiasm return. After finishing the basics, there was still some free time left in the day. "Kasen, Tusen," Naruto asked eagerly, "when will we start my ninjutsu, taijutsu, and other cool stuff?" Minato glanced at the status window, legacy system hovering beside him. Name: Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Status: Civilian. Chakra level: Near infinite. Chakra control: Non-existent. Intelligence: 10. Strength: 8. Speed: 15. Agility: 11. Reflexes: 10. Taijutsu: 3. Ninjutsu: 2. Genjutsu: 0. Fuinjutsu: 0. Stat points available: 10. You're improving rapidly, Naruto. Don't worry, Minato said with a soft smile. Remember, it's not about how quickly you learn, but how perfectly you master it. Naruto nodded, trying to hide his eagerness. Kushina smiled warmly. "So, Naruto, what do you usually do in your free time?" Naruto shrugged. "Well, nothing special. Sometimes I play pranks." Kushina raised an eyebrow. "Don't you have any friends to hang out with?" Naruto's smile faded. "No, whenever I go to the park, the other parents take their kids away from me." Both Kushina and Minato felt a sharp pang in their hearts. "I see," Kushina murmured, sadness in her voice. Minato tried to keep his tone calm. "What kind of pranks do you play?" Naruto perked up again. "Well, like, switching shampoo with color-changing dye, messing with groceries in restaurants." "Oh, one time, I painted the Hokage monument, except for yours." "You painted the Hokage monument?" Minato asked, stunned. "Yeah," Naruto grinned proudly. "I left yours untouched." Minato blinked. "Why'd you leave mine?" Naruto looked at him with shining eyes. "Because, you've been my hero for as long as I can remember. My dream is to surpass you one day." Minato's breath caught. Kushina smiled tearfully. "You will, Naruto," they both said, voices full of pride. "But wait," Kushina asked, "you painted the monument in broad daylight. Didn't the Anbu catch you?" Naruto laughed. "Nope, I did it in the middle of the day, and still none of the Anbu caught me. Only when Gigi found me later, he scolded me and said, 'Don't do it again.'" Minato and Kushina exchanged a shocked look. "The Anbu couldn't catch you?" Minato repeated, now genuinely impressed. Naruto beamed. "Nope, not even once." Kushina whistled softly. "You're already sneaky like your dad, maybe even sneakier." Minato chuckled, but his eyes held a thoughtful gleam. "Looks like you've already got talent for infiltration and evasion. That's high-level shinobi instinct." Kushina leaned in. "Just promise us something, Naruto." "What? Use that talent to protect people, not just prank them," she said gently. Naruto nodded with a wide grin. "I will. I'll become a Hokage everyone loves. And I'll make sure no one feels alone like I did." Minato and Kushina smiled, their hearts full. Just as promised, a week later, Naruto stood in the training field, ready to begin his taijutsu lessons under Kushina's guidance. But before the physical training could start, there was something else to do. "Before we begin," Kushina said, holding out a small piece of special chakra paper, "we need to check your elemental affinities." Naruto took the paper curiously. "Channel your chakra into it," Kushina instructed. Naruto nodded and focused his chakra. The paper reacted instantly, splitting in half, with one half soaking through with moisture. "What does that mean?" Naruto asked, wide-eyed. Kushina smiled. It means you have two natural elemental affinities, wind and water. You'll be able to learn jutsu from those elements much more easily than others. So, I can't learn the other elements? Naruto asked, slightly disappointed. You can, she assured him. But these two are your natural strengths. Once you master them, learning other elements later will be much easier. Naruto perked up. Okay, but what does that have to do with taijutsu? Good question, Naruto, Kushina said with a proud grin. Affinities aren't just about ninjutsu, they also affect your taijutsu. Wind-style fighters are aggressive and precise, delivering fast and slicing blows. Water-style, though, is both offensive and defensive. It adapts, flows, counters, and restrains. You've got the perfect combo for the Uzumaki taijutsu style. She continued, now pacing as she explained further. Each element has strengths and weaknesses in battle. Fire beats wind, but is weak against water. Wind beats lightning, but is weak against fire. Lightning beats earth, but is weak against wind. Earth beats water, but is weak against lightning. Water beats fire, but is weak against earth. We can also combine elements, she added. For example, earth-water makes mud release. The first Hokage had a unique Kekkei Genkai. He used earth and water together to create wood release. Naruto tilted his head. Kekkei Genkai, what's that? Kushina smiled. It's a bloodline limit, a rare power passed down in certain clans. Like the Uchiha's Sharingan, or the Yuki clan's ice release. Only those born with it can use it. Naruto's eyes sparkled. So, if I mix wind and water, can I make ice? It's possible, Kushina said thoughtfully. But ice release is usually a Kekkei Genkai. We won't know for sure unless we try. Still, wind and water are perfect for our style. We'll start with the first form of the Uzumaki taijutsu today. Later, we can introduce a second Uzumaki style, and eventually, your father's unique technique. Naruto blinked. Why do I need to learn multiple taijutsu styles? Kushina looked serious. Because versatility gives you the upper hand. If your opponent learns your movements, switching styles can throw them off completely. It also helps if you ever fight a Sharingan user, like the Uchiha. They can read and copy your fighting patterns, so changing styles is key. But, Naruto hesitated, aren't the Uchiha gone? Kushina and Minato, who had just walked over, froze. What did you say? Minato asked. Naruto looked at the ground. From what I've heard, Itachi Uchiha killed the whole clan. Only his little brother Sasuke survived. Kushina's eyes widened with shock. Makoto, she whispered, heart heavy for her old friend. There was a long silence. Minato sighed. So much has changed, too much. Kushina placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder and pushed a small, sad smile. All the more reason to get stronger, Naruto. Naruto looked up, his gaze now filled with determination. Then let's start, Kasen. Kushina's eyes narrowed with focus. Alright, first, I'll teach you the Uzumaki stance. Our taijutsu is built on power, speed, and relentless pressure. She stepped back, demonstrating a sharp, grounded stance, her arms up, legs slightly spread, one foot angled. Memorize this form, she instructed. Then we'll move to basic movement drills and pressure point strikes. Naruto mimicked the pose, slightly wobbly. Back straight, Kushina corrected. Lower your stance. That's it. And with that, Naruto's real physical training began. From that day onward, Naruto diligently practiced everything he had learned from his parents. Every morning and evening, he would train outside, repeating the stances, movements, and techniques until they were perfect. Over the course of a month, his strength, speed, reflexes, and agility improved dramatically. One evening, as he finished his dinner, a notification popped up from the system. System notification. To improve further, the player will now wear weighted clothing. 5 kg undershirt, 2 kg shinobi sandals. Naruto frowned, confused. He didn't understand what the weighted clothing was for. So after dinner, he retreated into his mindscape to ask his parents. Kasen, Tusen, what's the use of weighted clothing? Naruto asked. Minato smiled gently. Weighted clothing helps improve your physical training. By carrying extra weight during your exercises, your body gets stronger and faster when you remove it. Naruto nodded slowly. The system said I'm going to get a 5 kg undershirt and 2 kg shinobi sandals. That's right, Kushina added. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's very effective. Minato leaned forward, sharing a tip. At the beginning, it will slow you down. So use a little chakra to support your movements and get used to it. Once you feel your speed returns to normal with the weights on, stop using chakra, that's when your body has adapted. Got it, Tusen, Naruto said determinedly. They smiled warmly, and the conversation shifted naturally. Minato and Kushina began sharing stories from their own battles, lessons learned and techniques honed over years of experience. Naruto listened intently, inspired and motivated to push himself harder. The next morning, Naruto woke up feeling more energized than usual. As he stretched and rubbed his eyes, he noticed something different at the foot of his bed, a black undershirt and a pair of shinobi sandals. Curious, he reached for the shirt and immediately felt the weight. Whoa, this must be the weighted gear the system mentioned, he muttered. After a quick shower, Naruto dressed in the 5 kilograms undershirt and slipped on the 2 kilograms shinobi sandals. The difference in weight was immediate, every movement felt slightly sluggish. Still, he grinned. Let's do this. He scarfed down breakfast, said goodbye to the empty room out of habit, and rushed out to start his physical workout. What usually took him 2 hours now stretched by an additional 45 minutes. His body was slower, every movement heavier, his balance challenged. Once he was done with his drills, Naruto began his daily run around Konoha. As soon as he started running, he realized just how different it was. It felt exactly like his first day of training, clumsy, exhausting, and frustrating. Man, I can barely move with these on, he groaned, dragging his feet through the village paths. Then suddenly, everything changed. Without warning, Naruto vanished from the path. In a blink, he found himself standing in a vast, sun-scorched desert. The heat hit him like a wave, and the heavy clothing made it even worse. What the? Where am I now? He gasped, looking around. Before he could react, he felt it, a malicious, suffocating chakra rising around him. He turned instinctively, and froze. Standing before him was a massive tanuki, its body made entirely of swirling sand, with a jagged grin and fierce eyes. Naruto's jaw dropped. A raccoon made of sand. The creature growled, its deep voice echoing across the dunes. Who dares mock the mighty tanuki? I am Shukaku, the one-tailed beast. Prepare to be crushed, vermin. Without another word, Shukaku charged up a blast of chakra in its mouth. Just then, a system notification blinked in Naruto's vision. Mission activated. Survive for 3 hours. Failure equals death. Naruto's eyes widened. What the hell? He ran. At first, he thought, how hard could this be? But it didn't take long to realize he had severely underestimated the beast. The desert was Shukaku's domain. Spikes of sand shot up from the ground without warning. Entire pits opened beneath Naruto's feet, trying to swallow him whole. Waves of sand lashed out at him, chasing his every move. And every few minutes, a tailed beast bomb would explode in the distance, shaking the very sky. Naruto dodged, ducked, rolled, and leapt for dear life, sweat pouring from his body, lungs burning with effort. His weighted clothing only made things worse, slowing him down just enough to keep the threat constantly at his heels. But he didn't give up. He remembered what his father had said. When it gets hard, push harder. He gritted his teeth. I'm not gonna die in some giant raccoon sandbox. Finally, after what felt like forever, the ground beneath him shimmered. The desert vanished. The heat, the sand, the monster, all gone. Naruto blinked and found himself back on the road to Konoha. And then, faceplant, he groaned, lying on the ground, dust swirling around him. Okay, note to self, no more underestimating system missions. Groaning, Naruto slowly lifted his head off the dirt road, only to come face to face with a girl kneeling in front of him, her face glowing a bright, tomato-red blush. Oh, hi, Hinata. How are you? Naruto asked, flashing his usual grin. Eek, Hinata squeaked and fainted on the spot. Whoa, Hinata. Hey, Hinata, wake up. Naruto panicked, gently shaking her shoulder. After a few seconds, she blinked awake, eyes fluttering open. As she realized how close Naruto's face was, she whispered to herself in a panic, don't faint, don't faint, don't faint. She sat up, mustering every ounce of courage she had. Her lavender eyes met his, still flushed but steady. Naruto-kun, what happened? Why you're bruised all over, she stammered, eyes full of concern. Naruto rubbed the back of his neck with a sheepish grin. Hey, I'm training, I wanna get stronger, so I can become Hokage one day. That way, I can protect everyone precious to me. Hinata's heart skipped a beat. Before she could say anything else, Naruto stood up. Anyway, thanks for checking on me. I gotta go finish my run. Bye, Hinata. And just like that, he dashed off down the path, kicking up a small cloud of dust behind him. Hinata stood there in silence, watching him disappear in awe. Naruto is training hard, even during the holidays, she thought to herself. Her hands clenched into small fists. I want to become strong too. I don't want to seem weak in front of him. Determined, she whispered aloud, from now on, I'll train hard too. Someday, when Naruto sees me, I want him to see someone strong. Her eyes glowed with resolve as she turned back toward the Hyuga compound, ready to begin her own journey. After cooking lunch for himself, Naruto went to meditate, ready to resume his training with his parents. By now, he had mastered the basic stance of the Uzumaki fist taijutsu style. Under Kushina's strict guidance, he had been made to repeat each kata until he could perform it with near-perfect precision and accuracy. It had been 2 months since his training began. Naruto had gotten used to the weighted gear they made him wear. Even without chakra enhancement, he had regained the speed he had at the very beginning of his training. His stamina had improved, and his movements were becoming sharper by the day. By the 3rd month, Minato and Kushina began introducing him to the basics of chakra control. The first exercise was the leaf balancing technique, placing a leaf on his forehead and keeping it from falling using only chakra flow. Tusen, Naruto called out, looking at Minato with curiosity. Minato approached him and said with a serious tone, Naruto, I'm going to show you a dangerous jutsu. But you must promise me, that you won't teach it to anyone with low chakra reserves. Understand? Naruto nodded solemnly. What is this jutsu? Shadow clone technique, Minato replied. Naruto's eyes widened. A clone, my greatest enemy, he said, thinking back to his academy days and the struggles he had with the regular clone jutsu. Minato smiled slightly. Not a normal clone. This one's different, and dangerous. It creates real, physical clones by splitting your chakra evenly among them. That's why it's forbidden for most. The risk of severe chakra depletion is too high. But you're different. Because of Kyuubi, Minato nodded. Yes, thanks to the 9 tails, your chakra reserves are near limitless. You can use this jutsu without much risk. It's commonly used for spying and reconnaissance. Why spying? Naruto asked, tilting his head. Because shadow clones can share their memories, Minato said, a hint of pride in his voice. Everything they see and experience, you'll know the moment they dispel. Naruto's eyes gleamed with excitement and curiosity. That's awesome. Then a screen appeared, giving details about the shadow clone technique. It can create solid clones of the user by dividing the chakra based on the number of clones. It shares memories and experience, and Naruto saw the hand signs. What does it mean, share experience? Asked Naruto. Minato and Kushina grinned. Well, you noticed it, Minato said. While experimenting when I was alive, I noticed how I got the memories even though it's a known fact. One day, I made clones to train with myself. Then I noticed my flaws in my taijutsu, and that's when I realized it. So basically, you can do years of training in months with shadow clones. What, really? Then why didn't you show me on the first day? Asked Naruto. Naruto, the clones don't help in physical things, only with muscle memory. So with it, you can gain mastery over chakra control and learn things quickly, said Minato. Okay, now I know the trick. See, I'll surpass you in years, said Naruto. Minato chuckled. Well, why don't you try it? Said Kushina. Then Naruto performed the hand seals. After practicing for a few minutes, Naruto pumped as much chakra as he could. A poof of smoke appeared. There stood 1,000 Naruto clones. Even Minato and Kushina's jaws dropped. Now say, who is awesome? Asked the main Naruto. The clones said in unison, we are awesome. Kushina chuckled funnily. Dear, it seems he went overboard. Well, knowing his reserves, it's no wonder, said Minato. Naruto called Minato. What, Tusen, be careful. Don't make more than 100 while training. And when dispelling, dispel them in batches, like 5 at once. And after a minute or two, the next 5, said Minato. Naruto nodded. With his newfound determination, Naruto began to fully utilize the shadow clone jutsu. First, he mastered every kata of the taijutsu style he was learning. While it normally would take months, Naruto, using his clones, learned an entire style in just a few days. He sparred daily with both his mother and father, honing his instincts and refining his movements. Meanwhile, his clones practiced chakra control, starting with the classic leaf balancing exercise. Under Minato and Kushina's watchful eyes, they pushed him hard. Soon, Naruto could not only balance a leaf, but rotate it around his body with precision. Eventually, he advanced to balancing multiple leaves simultaneously, on his fingertips, his forehead, and even while moving. With the help of shadow clones, this once challenging task took mere hours. By the 4th month of his training, Naruto began learning Fuinjutsu. As Minato and Kushina had predicted, their son was a natural, a prodigy, thanks in part to his lineage. Alongside his sealing arts training, his physical regimen intensified. Now, every day Naruto had to perform 200 push-ups, 200 squats, 200 sit-ups, 200 crunches, 3 full laps around Konoha, all while wearing a 10 kg weighted undershirt and 5 kg weighted shinobi sandals. Currently, Naruto was on his 3rd lap around the village. Sweat drenched his body, his golden hair clinging to his forehead. Every step was heavy, every breath slightly ragged, but his eyes burned with resolve. As he ran along the adjacent road, he passed by Hinata Hyuga, who was walking nearby. Her eyes widened when she saw him. Watching his dedication ignited a spark of determination in her heart. Naruto-kun, she thought, clenching her fists. Further down the road, Shikamaru and Choji were sitting near the training field, relaxing. "Is that Naruto?" Choji asked, blinking as the blonde blur sped past them. "Troublesome." "Yeah, it is," Shikamaru muttered, shading his eyes as he looked toward him. "Why's he running like that?" "Probably training." Choji munched on a chip thoughtfully. "You realize, we haven't seen any pranks from him in months." Shikamaru sighed and leaned back. "Yeah, I noticed, but it's too troublesome to care. As long as he doesn't interrupt my cloud watching, I'm good." "Or maybe he is planning something big," said Choji. "Troublesome," muttered Shikamaru. Now into his 5th month of training, Naruto began learning his 2nd taijutsu style, an advanced Uzumaki clan form. As usual, he followed his parents' advice and made full use of the shadow clone jutsu. He created 100 clones, each one drilling the stance and flow of the style. Within a few days, he'd learned the form, and in just a few more, he had polished it to near perfection. There was one thing Naruto had come to understand about his parents: when it came to training, they showed no mercy. Every mistake was corrected, not through scolding, but through relentless, focused practice. And Naruto didn't resent it. In fact, he appreciated it. For the first time, he wasn't alone. He was loved, guided, and being shaped into someone strong, by the very people who meant the most to him. At the start of the 5th month, Naruto began learning his father Minato's personal taijutsu style. Simultaneously, he took up a new interest: Fuinjutsu-based explosive tags. Creating them felt exciting, almost artistic. One day, he had an idea: what if I sold these? He brought it up with his parents. "Try it," they encouraged, curious to see where his creativity would lead. Now, in the warm light of the late afternoon, Naruto found himself sparring once again with his mother, Kushina. He launched a quick right hook. She calmly swatted it aside and jabbed him in the shoulder. He retaliated with a high kick aimed at her head. She blocked with her forearm and countered with a solid punch to his gut, knocking the air from his lungs. Naruto stumbled, but quickly recovered, launching a flurry of punches and kicks. He landed a few, but most were deflected, and he took more hits than he gave. Each impact taught him something. "Enough for today," Kushina said, stepping back. Breathing hard, Naruto nodded and dropped into a seated position on the grass. "Did you observe anything?" she asked, looking at him with an evaluating gaze. "Yes," Naruto panted. "You're faster than me, and more precise. I still lack that kind of control in the moment." Kushina smiled, wiping sweat from her brow. "Exactly. But don't worry, that'll come with time. What you're missing, Naruto, is experience. Strength and skill alone aren't everything." She walked over and sat beside him. "There's a saying, even a rookie genin can kill a cage. Do you know what that means?" Naruto nodded. "It means we should never let our guard down, and not to overestimate ourselves." "Right," she said, ruffling his damp hair. "Too many good ninja died because they let their pride get in the way. Remember that, always." Naruto clenched his fist, a thoughtful look in his eyes. "I will, Kasen, I promise." Naruto walked through the streets of Konoha, his steps light but his heart heavy. He was on his way to another weapon shop. Most of them had turned him away without a second thought, the villagers, hatred still clouding their judgment, even now. But today, he stood outside a shop he hadn't tried before, Higurashi Weapons. Please let this one be different, he thought as he pushed open the door. Welcome to Higurashi Weapons, came a cheerful male voice from inside. A tall man with a scruffy beard looked up from behind the counter. His expression shifted slightly as he noticed Naruto, specifically, the lack of a forehead protector. Sorry, kid, the man said, his tone turning flat. I can't sell weapons to civilians. Come back after you graduate. Naruto blinked, confused. Wait, what does graduation have to do with buying weapons? The man crossed his arms. Because you're not a ninja. And I don't sell weapons to children. Rules are rules. Naruto hesitated, then quickly explained, I'm not here to buy weapons. I came to sell something, explosive tags. I know basic fuinjutsu, and I've been making my own tags. They're not fake. You can test them yourself. I can even give a few for free. If you're satisfied, maybe we could make a deal. The shopkeeper raised an eyebrow, clearly intrigued but still cautious. Tell me, boy, what made you think I'd be interested? Naruto scratched the back of his head. I don't know. I guess, I just needed to try. I'm an orphan. The monthly stipend from the Hokage's office barely covers my rent and food. I've been training hard and I need to eat properly. So, I figured I could earn a little by doing what I'm good at. There was a long pause. The man finally sighed and gave a small nod. Alright, come with me. We'll test them out. I'm Higurashi, by the way. Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto said with a grin. Together, they walked to the back of the shop where a small open testing area had been set up. Higurashi examined the tags Naruto had brought. His trained eyes widened slightly. Who taught you how to make these? Higurashi asked. I taught myself, Naruto replied. Why, are they bad? Is something wrong? The man let out a low whistle. No, kid, these are good, really good. The craftsmanship is clean, the chakra distribution is precise. It's like they were made by a master. Naruto smiled, proud. Thanks. I don't stop until I get things right. Higurashi placed one of the tags onto a test dummy, then activated it. Boom. The blast echoed loudly. Dust and smoke filled the air before clearing away to reveal a shredded target. Wonderful, Higurashi said, clearly impressed. These hit harder than most of what I've got on the shelves. So, does that mean you'll buy? Naruto asked, hope glimmering in his voice. Higurashi nodded. Yes, I want 50 sets by the end of next week. If they sell well, I'll order more. Here's an advance. He handed Naruto a small pouch of Ryo. Naruto bowed gratefully. Thanks. Can I buy some sealing paper too? I ran out. Come on, Higurashi said with a grin. Let's get you what you need. Back inside the shop, Naruto picked up sealing paper, ink, and a few essential materials. With his supplies restocked and money in his pocket, he left the shop and returned to his apartment, ready to get to work. For the first time in a long while, Naruto didn't just feel like a burden. He felt useful. It was the 6th month of his new training routine. The number of laps had increased to 5, and now Naruto was training with his Kasen and Tusen to switch fighting styles mid-battle. He was just beginning to scratch the surface of the technique. After hours of grueling training, Naruto finally plopped down on the grass to catch his breath. Kushina sat beside him, a soft smile on her face. So, Naruto, do you have a girlfriend? Naruto blinked and looked away. No. Do you like anyone? She asked, her tone casual but curious. Yeah. Her name's Sakura, Naruto replied, a hint of pink on his cheeks. Kushina raised an eyebrow. Did you ask her out? Yeah, a lot of times, Naruto said, his voice dropping. But she always rejects me, and punches me, too. Says I'm annoying. Kushina's smile faded, her eyes narrowing slightly. Rejecting you is one thing, but hitting you? That's not okay. Why would she do that? Naruto rubbed the back of his head, sheepishly. Maybe I asked her too many times. And she's got her eyes on Sasuke Tem. I don't get it, he always broods like the world's ending or something. Minato, who had been silently listening, finally spoke. Naruto, I think it's time to let her go. Naruto looked shocked, but I like her. Minato's voice was gentle but firm. Tell me, has she ever acknowledged you? Treated you kindly? Naruto looked down and slowly shook his head. No, but maybe it's because I was weak, the dead last in class. I'm getting stronger now, maybe she'll notice me. Kushina reached over and ruffled his hair. Naruto, you should be loved for who you are, not for your power or potential. You shouldn't have to earn love by proving your worth. Naruto fell silent, his eyes reflecting uncertainty. Maybe you're right, I don't know. Don't worry, Kushina said warmly. There are so many girls out there who would love someone like you. You're kind, strong, and even after everything you've been through, the hate, the loneliness, you never gave into darkness. That's what makes you special, Naruto. Besides, you're still too young to worry about finding a wife. Minato gave a small chuckle and said, speaking of growing up, I think it's time we had the talk. Naruto blinked. The what now? Several awkward, educational, and long hours later, Minato finally wrapped up what was possibly the most uncomfortable discussion of his life. Naruto's face was flushed, and Kushina looked both amused and exasperated. With that, Naruto left his mindscape, feeling tired but a little wiser. Tomorrow was another day, and he was ready to face it. Status window, Legacy System. Name, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Status, Civilian. Chakra level, Near Infinite. Chakra control, 5. Intelligence, 20. Strength, 30. Speed, 23. Agility, 17. Reflexes, 14. Taijutsu, 5. Ninjutsu, 3. Genjutsu, 0. Fuinjutsu, 5. Stat points available, 0. Naruto, The Legacy System Chapter 3, Back to Academy, a Naruto fanfic. Chapter 3, Back to Academy. Finally, the 6-month break had come to an end. Starting tomorrow, Naruto would be resuming the academy. During the break, he had trained hard and improved by leaps and bounds. Ka-san, Tu-san. From tomorrow, the academy reopens. So, how are you planning my training? Naruto asked eagerly. Minato smiled, glancing at Kushina. I was thinking of sending a shadow clone to the academy while I continue to train or learn new techniques with you. Kushina shook her head firmly. No, you're not allowed to do that. If anyone finds out, it'll cause a lot of problems. They'll keep questioning you until you're forced to reveal the truth. And more importantly, you should be there yourself, not a clone. Fine, Naruto said with a sigh. But what about my training? Just then, a screen popped. System notification. Due to the resumption of the academy, the user must complete the following daily exercise before the end of each day. 200 push-ups, 200 squats, 200 sit-ups, 200 crunches, 4 full laps around Konoha. Note: all exercises must be completed while wearing a 12 kg weighted undershirt and 5 kg weighted shinobi sandals. Naruto muttered under his breath, looks like I'll have to wake up early in the morning to finish all that. The next day, Naruto woke up at 5 a.m. sharp. He immediately began his exercises and by 6 a.m., he started his first lap around Konoha. As he ran, many of the early risers preparing to open their shops gave him cold, judgmental stares. Naruto noticed them but didn't let it bother him. He understood their distrust, to a point. But blaming him for something beyond his control, calling him a monster without even knowing him, felt deeply unfair. Shaking off the thoughts, he pressed forward, pushing his legs harder against the weight of his training gear. Suddenly, 2 green blurs sped past him, shouting, "Flames of youth!" At the top of their lungs. Naruto blinked. What the? They're faster than me. Who even are they? By the time Naruto completed his first lap, about 45 minutes later, he was already starting on his second when he heard loud voices nearby. Look, Guy-sensei, it seems someone else's youth is burning bright. Yes, Lee, you're right, another voice responded enthusiastically. Naruto turned to see 2 figures running beside him. On the right, a tall man in green spandex with a shiny bowl cut and thick eyebrows, and on the left, a younger version of the same look. My friend, your flames of youth are invigorating mine. The younger boy shouted. What is your name? Naruto Uzumaki, Naruto replied, still a bit breathless. Good to meet you, Naruto. I am Rock Lee, and this is my sensei, Maida Guy. Guy gave him a thumbs up so bright it nearly sparkled in the sunlight. So, how many laps do you do daily? Lee asked curiously. 4, Naruto answered. This is my second lap. Only 4, I run 100 laps. Lee declared proudly. Naruto stopped mid-run, shocked. Did you just say 100? Lee nodded enthusiastically. Naruto sighed, impressed. Quote. I've been training for 6 months, and now I can manage 4 laps at full speed. What do you mean by full speed? Do you use weights? Guy asked. Yes. A 12 kilograms weighted undershirt and 5 kilograms sandals, Naruto replied. Guy's face lit up. Lee, you were right, his flames of youth are burning bright. With a smile, Naruto continued his run. They went their separate ways, the two green blurs vanishing as quickly as they had appeared. By 7:30 a.m., Naruto finished his second lap. He decided to head home, clean up, and get ready for the academy. He created a shadow clone to make breakfast while he took a quick bath. By 7:50, he was ready. Stashing his weights into a ceiling scroll, he leapt across Konoha's rooftops, heading toward the academy, his next step forward as a shinobi. Naruto arrived at the academy a little early, slipping into the classroom before the instructor arrived. He looked around and spotted an empty seat near the middle of the room. With a casual stride, he walked over and sat down. Curious, he turned to see who was sitting next to him, and to his surprise, he found Hinata Hyuga seated beside him. Her face was flushed bright red, and she looked like she was trying to hide behind her collar. "Oh, hi Hinata, how are you?" Naruto asked casually. That's when he really noticed her face, bright red and steaming. "Hinata, are you okay? Your face is red, are you sick?" "Eek," Hinata squeaked, and then, thud, she fainted right in her seat. "Hinata," Naruto panicked. He leaned over, gently shaking her by the shoulders. "Hey, Hinata, wake up." He looked around the classroom. No one seemed to have noticed, everyone was busy chatting with friends or dozing off. The teacher hadn't arrived yet. I don't know what to do," he muttered, trying not to freak out. Desperate, he did the only thing that came to mind. He closed his eyes and entered his mindscape. "Ka-san, Tu-san," Naruto shouted into the quiet of his inner world, panic written all over his face. Kushina turned around, surprised. "Naruto, what happened? Aren't you supposed to be at the academy? And why do you sound panicked?" "It's Hinata." I sat next to her and said hi. Her face turned red, and when I asked if she was sick, she fainted. I tried waking her up, but she won't respond. "What should I do?" Minato raised a calming hand. "Relax, Naruto. Take a deep breath." Kushina gently placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "She's fine, Sochi. Don't worry. Just let her rest for a bit, she'll wake up soon. Trust me." "But, what if she really is sick? What if she gets worse?" "Even though she always acts a bit strange around me, Hinata's one of the few people who's ever been kind to me. I don't want to just ignore it." Kushina smiled warmly. "She's not sick, Naruto. I promise, give her a moment, she'll be fine." With that, Naruto left his mindscape. After a moment, Kushina chuckled, muttering softly, "Like father, like son." Minato tilted his head with a faint smile. "It seems this girl, Hinata, likes our Naruto. Isn't that obvious?" Kushina grinned. "But just like his dad, he's too dense to notice." Minato's sweat dropped. Naruto returned to the real world just as Iruka-sensei entered the classroom, calling for everyone to settle down. He glanced to his side, and sure enough, Hinata was awake, her face still pink but trying to look composed. She avoided eye contact, fidgeting with her fingers under the desk. Relieved, Naruto smiled to himself. She's okay. The rest of the class continued as usual, with Iruka-sensei delivering the day's lesson on chakra control and basic ninjutsu theory. As he spoke, he casually scanned the classroom, making sure everyone was paying attention. Then his gaze landed on Naruto Uzumaki. Iruka blinked. Naruto wasn't goofing off. He wasn't doodling, snoring, or causing a distraction. In fact, he was sitting upright, focused, and listening intently. He's paying attention. Iruka was genuinely shocked. Usually, by this point in the class, he would have had to yell at Naruto at least twice, maybe more. But now, Naruto looked like a completely different student. It wasn't just Iruka who noticed. Several students who were used to Naruto's usual loud, chaotic energy glanced at him in disbelief. The classroom felt strangely quieter without his constant interruptions. Iruka allowed himself a small smile. "So, he really took my words to heart. Good job, Naruto." Hinata, who sat beside him, couldn't help but sneak glances at him every now and then. She had always known Naruto trained hard, but this was beyond what she had imagined. His focus, his posture, even the aura around him, everything about him felt stronger. More mature. She clutched her fingers together nervously under the desk, her heart pounding. He's changed, so much. And yet, he was still him, the same boy who smiled at her, who never gave up, who always stood tall no matter how others treated him. That warmth, that fire, it hadn't gone anywhere. It had only grown brighter. Hinata's blush deepened, but this time, she didn't faint. She just smiled softly to herself, proud of the boy beside her, too shy to say anything, but quietly cheering for him with all her heart. Even Sasuke Uchiha noticed the change. He sat at the far end of the classroom, arms crossed, expression calm, but his sharp, onyx eyes missed nothing. From his seat, he casually observed Naruto. To everyone else, Sasuke looked like he wasn't paying attention, like he was above it all, as usual. But in truth, he was watching. He always watched. Naruto had always annoyed him. Loud, clumsy, always seeking attention, but today, he was quiet, focused, different. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. He never talked about it, not to anyone, but deep down, Sasuke had always understood Naruto more than he'd ever admit. They were both alone, orphans, loners in a village that either ignored them or watched them with wary eyes. But there was something Sasuke couldn't understand, something that always made Naruto a mystery to him. How can he smile like that? That ridiculous, toothy grin. That energy. That fire. Sasuke, who had felt the cold grip of loss, who had watched his family die in front of him, couldn't understand how someone who had also lost his parents could keep smiling. Maybe, they died when he was too young or the day he was born. That's why it doesn't hurt the same, Sasuke had told himself. But today, something was different. When Naruto had entered the class, there was a strange light in his eyes, not the usual forced energy, not the fake cheerfulness that masked loneliness. This time, it felt real. His presence, the way he listened, his calmness, the quiet intensity in his gaze, it all felt genuine. Sasuke didn't know what had changed. And though he noticed it, he didn't let it show. He simply turned his gaze away, as if uninterested. Whatever, he thought, leaning back in his seat. It doesn't matter. But a small part of him, a part buried deep behind walls of grief and pride, was curious. Intrigued, even, and that was rare. When lunch break came, most students grouped up with their friends, laughing, chatting, and sharing food. Naruto, however, sat alone under a large tree in the courtyard, his bento box resting on his lap. He didn't mind much, he was used to it. But still, a small part of him hoped today might be a little different. As he took a bite of rice, he heard footsteps approaching. "Yo," said a lazy voice. Naruto looked up. Shikamaru and Choji stood in front of him, Choji already munching on a bag of chips, and Shikamaru giving him his usual half-lidded stare. Without waiting for an invitation, they both plopped down beside him. "What happened to you?" asked Shikamaru, raising an eyebrow. Naruto blinked. "What do you mean? You've changed," Shikamaru said flatly. "You're not yelling. You actually paid attention in class. That's not normal for you." Choji continued eating, occasionally glancing between Naruto and Shikamaru, clearly interested in the conversation even if his mouth was full. Naruto scratched the back of his head. "Nothing happened, really. I just decided to take things seriously." He looked down at his food, then back at them. "I can't become Hokage if I keep failing, right? If I stay weak, no one will ever follow me. I've gotta be strong and smart enough to lead you all one day." Shikamaru sighed. "Troublesome." Naruto narrowed his eyes. "Hey, are you saying I'm unfit to be Hokage?" "No," Shikamaru said with a bored tone. "I'm saying you've changed. And now that you're acting serious, the spotlight's gonna shift to the rest of us. That means I have to work harder now." "That's troublesome." Naruto's sweat dropped. "Wait, you're upset because you have to put in more effort?" "Yes." Shikamaru nodded solemnly. Choji chuckled between bites. "He's not kidding." Naruto laughed for real this time, a warm, genuine laugh. It felt good. For once, people weren't just mocking him or pushing him away. They were talking to him. Maybe, just maybe, things were starting to change. Later that day, as the sun began to set, the academy doors opened and students poured out. Naruto stepped into the evening light inside, stretching his arms. Still one more year to go. But instead of wasting time, he leapt up to a nearby rooftop, and took off running. He still had 2 more laps around Konoha to complete. And he wasn't going to let his dream wait. After finishing his laps around Konoha, Naruto headed home, not to rest, but to continue training. In the quiet safety of the Uzumaki household, he spent the rest of the evening with his parents in the mindscape. Kushina guided him through complex fuinjutsu sequences, while Minato worked with him on refining his taijutsu form and footwork. Though exhausted, Naruto trained with unmatched determination, pushing himself beyond his limits. The next morning, today's schedule was different. It was time for physical evaluations and chakra control exercises. Excitement and tension buzzed through the class. The first test was kunai throwing. Naruto stepped up to the mark. 6 months ago, he could barely hit the target board. Most of the class remembered it, and some still snickered in anticipation of a poor performance. He calmly pulled out 10 kunai. Thud, 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 one after another, the kunai flew through the air with sharp precision. 9 of them embedded themselves perfectly in the center ring of the target. The 10th was just slightly off. The class fell silent. "Is that Naruto?" one student whispered. "It's gotta be a fluke," someone muttered from the back. But Iruka's eyebrows rose, impressed. Next was the shuriken throwing test. Naruto stepped up again and threw 10 shuriken in a fluid motion. All 10 hit bullseye. Gasps filled the air. Okay, maybe it's not a fluke. Even Iruka had to check the targets twice to confirm what he was seeing. Then came the taijutsu sparring round. Naruto didn't use the advanced moves Minato or Kushina taught him. He stuck to the academy style, nothing flashy. No clan secrets, just clean, well-practiced technique. His opponent, Sasuke Uchiha. As the two boys stepped onto the mat, the classroom erupted. "Sasuke-kun, show him his place." His fan club screamed. Sasuke remained calm, hands in his pockets. He didn't take Naruto seriously. He's probably the same as always, he thought. "Face each other," Iruka ordered. "Bo, ready, Hajime." Both boys stood still. Sasuke was puzzled. Normally he charges in without thinking. What's he waiting for? "You're not coming. Afraid you'll lose," Sasuke taunted. Naruto replied, his voice calm and even. "Why would I be afraid of you?" That stunned more than just Sasuke. No shouting, no childish comeback, just quiet confidence. Then Naruto moved, fast. He launched a clean right jab. Sasuke deflected it and lifted his leg for a high kick, aiming at Naruto's face. But Naruto ducked smoothly and caught Sasuke's leg, lifting him with surprising strength. Sasuke flipped midair and landed neatly, narrowing his eyes. The two clashed in a brief hand-to-hand exchange, evenly matched. But Naruto decided to step it up. He increased his speed slightly and delivered a palm strike to Sasuke's chest, sending him sliding back. Before Sasuke could fully recover, Naruto dashed forward again. Sasuke raised his arm to strike, but Naruto expertly caught his wrist, twisted, and flipped Sasuke onto the ground. Thud, the entire class froze. Sasuke lay on his back, stunned. What just happened? He grit his teeth and started to rise, but Iruka raised his hand. Enough. The winner is Naruto Uzumaki. Silence. The girls who had screamed for Sasuke moments ago had no words. Their mouths hung open in disbelief. Even Sasuke remained still for a few seconds, processing the reality that he'd been defeated, and cleanly at that. In the crowd, Hinata clasped her hands together, a gentle smile blooming across her face. "You did it, Naruto-kun." After his victory against Sasuke, Naruto returned to his seat. He dropped down beside Hinata, wiping a bit of sweat from his brow. "See, congratulations, Naruto-kun," Hinata said, her cheeks already tinged pink. "Oh, thanks, Hinata," Naruto replied with a grin. The sparring matches continued, but Naruto's attention stayed on the ring. The next match was announced. Hinata Hyuga vs. Sakura Haruno. Naruto turned toward her. "Good luck, Hinata." Hinata nodded shyly, butterflies fluttering in her chest. "I need to show Naruto-kun how strong I've become." Sakura made her way into the ring, confidence on her face, until she noticed something strange. Naruto didn't cheer for me. Usually, he'd shout her name, pump his fist, or try to get her attention. But today, and even yesterday, he hadn't said much to her at all. That thought nagged at her, but the match had already begun. "Hajime," Iruka's voice echoed across the training yard. Sakura charged forward, eager to win quickly. But she wasn't ready. She didn't know that engaging a Hyuga in taijutsu was practically suicide without proper training. As Sakura raised her fist to strike, Hinata calmly sidestepped, her hand glowing faintly with chakra. With precise movements, she delivered quick juken strikes, one to Sakura's extended arm, and two to her legs. Sakura gasped and dropped to the ground, unable to move. "Winner. Hinata Hyuga," Iruka declared. The class fell silent for a moment before quiet applause and murmurs of surprise followed. Hinata, now composed, quickly reached down and released the tenketsu points she'd sealed on Sakura, allowing her to recover. Then she returned to her seat beside Naruto. As she sat down, she noticed him smiling brightly at her. "That was awesome, Hinata. How did you do that? It's like you just touched her and she couldn't move," Naruto asked, full of admiration. Hinata's face turned bright red. "She called Jukin, and Naruto-kun. It's my clan's special taijutsu style. That's amazing. Maybe I should spar with you sometime and see how it works," Naruto said, genuinely impressed. Really? Why you would?" Hinata asked, hope sparkling in her eyes. "Of course, if it's okay with you," Naruto said with a grin. I have no problem with that, Naruto-kun," she said, surprised she didn't stutter this time. Naruto nodded. "Alright, I'll let you know when I have some free time." Hinata smiled to herself. "I did it. I really did it." After the sparring matches wrapped up, Iruka-sensei gathered the class under the training pavilion for the next lesson. "Alright, everyone, it's time for a basic chakra control exercise," he announced, holding up a simple green leaf. "Your task is to place the leaf on your forehead and keep it there using chakra alone. No tape, no glue, just chakra." The students looked at one another, murmuring in confusion. "For most of you, this is your first time attempting chakra control," Iruka explained. "It might seem simple, but maintaining a steady, controlled flow is harder than it sounds." Everyone began. The clearing was soon filled with the sound of rustling leaves and groans as one after another, students failed to keep the leaf from falling. A few minutes later, Sakura managed it. She grinned proudly. "Finally, well done," Iruka said, nodding. "You've got good control, Sakura." Nearby, Hinata had already completed the task on her first try. Her leaf didn't even wobble. Her chakra was steady and refined. Iruka wasn't surprised. The Hyuga clan specializes in precision chakra use. She's clearly had training. He glanced over at Sasuke, only to see the Uchiha frowning as his leaf slid off yet again. He gritted his teeth and tried again. Finally, Iruka's eyes landed on Naruto, and he blinked in disbelief. The blonde was sitting calmly, eyes closed, leaf perfectly balanced. There was no sign of strain or effort. "Naruto," Iruka called. "You've already got it." Naruto opened one eye and smiled. "Yup, already knew it, Iruka-sensei." Iruka walked closer, intrigued. "How long did it take you to learn?" "Well," Naruto scratched his cheek. "Considering how much chakra I have, it took me a whole day just to stop blowing the leaf off. But I practiced more and more, eventually I got it." Then he grinned mischievously. "Wanna see something cool?" Without waiting for a response, Naruto shifted slightly. The leaf began to rotate slowly around his torso, guided by subtle chakra flow. Then he pulled out more leaves, balancing them each on his fingertips, an inch apart, steady as a rock. The class gasped. "He's actually doing it. That's not normal." A student raised their hand. "Wait, what do you mean, considering how much chakra you have? Are you saying you have more than the rest of us?" Naruto shrugged casually. "Basically, yeah, my stamina's almost unlimited, and my chakra reserves are huge." All eyes turned to Iruka for confirmation. Iruka nodded slowly. "Naruto's telling the truth. His chakra reserves are already among the top 5 in the entire village. With training and age, he may one day possess the largest chakra pool in the world." The students stared, a mix of awe and envy spreading across their faces. "But," Iruka continued, "there's a downside. The more chakra you have, the harder it is to control." Naruto struggled with this technique at first because his reserves are so high. Sakura blinked, thinking it through. "So, I was able to do it quickly because I have less chakra." "Exactly," Iruka said, nodding. "That's not a bad thing, Sakura. Smaller chakra reserves mean you can learn control faster. And you come from a civilian family, so your natural reserves are lower than someone from a clan like the Hyuga or Yamanaka." Sakura frowned slightly, but Iruka gave her a reassuring smile. "Don't let that discourage you. Chakra reserves can be increased through training, serious training, once you graduate and become a genin." Some students still looked envious, but many were now staring at Naruto with something new in their eyes, not disdain or annoyance, but respect. After the academy day ended, Naruto made his way through the busy streets of Konoha, heading toward Higurashi Weapon Shop. He walked through the wooden door as the familiar scent of metal and oil filled his nose. Inside, A girl around his age was sorting kunai behind the counter. She looked up as the door opened, and frowned. "Sorry, we don't sell weapons to civilians," she said flatly. Naruto blinked. "I'm not here to buy. I came to meet Mr. Higurashi." Her eyes narrowed. "Why do you want to see my father?" Naruto reached into his pocket. "We have a deal. He asked for a new batch of explosive tags, and I brought them." The girl stared at him, stunned. "Wait, you're selling my dad explosive tags?" Naruto nodded. "Yeah." She crossed her arms. "You expect me to believe that? You're not even a shinobi." Naruto raised an eyebrow. "Why would I lie? Here." He pulled out a small bundle of neatly prepared explosive tags and held them up. Before she could say anything else, the back door opened, and Mr. Higurashi entered, wiping his hands with a cloth. "Tenten, what's going on out here?" he asked, pausing when he noticed Naruto. "Oh, Naruto, you're here. Did you bring the order?" Naruto nodded and handed over the tags. 10 sets, just like you asked." Higurashi examined them carefully. "Perfect work as always." He handed Naruto a small stack of ryo in return. Tenten's jaw dropped. Wait, what's going on here?" Naruto shrugged. "Like I said, selling tags." Tenten turned to her father, incredulous. "Dad, seriously, he's not even a genin yet." "I graduate next year," Naruto replied calmly. "And I need the money. The allowance from the Hokage's office isn't enough to cover all my training supplies." Tenten stared at him. "Still, how do you even make these? You're saying you know Fuinjutsu?" Naruto gave a small grin. "Yeah." A spark lit up in Tenten's eyes. "Can you teach me? No one teaches sealing in the academy, and I can't find a tutor anywhere in Konoha." Naruto looked thoughtful. "I'm still learning too. I'm not sure I'd be a great teacher." "That's fine." Tenten waved it off. "I'm still working on perfecting my calligraphy anyway. It'll take me some time before I can even attempt proper seals." Naruto scratched the back of his head. "Okay, how about this? I'll give you some beginner scrolls, one simplified for myself. If you've got questions, you can ask me." "Deal." Tenten grinned. She studied his face for a second longer, then tilted her head. "Wait, I've seen you before. Weren't you the kid who took the academy test with us 6 months ago?" Naruto looked a little sheepish. "Yeah, I was kind of overconfident back then." Tenten smiled slightly. "Well, you've clearly been working hard since then." Naruto nodded. "I'll come by tomorrow with the scrolls." "Oh, and could I get some sealing paper? I need to make a new batch. I'm also working on my own version of the tag." Higurashi nodded and handed him a small stack of special parchment. "Good luck with that." With that, Naruto turned and left the shop. Tenten crossed her arms and turned to her father. "I still can't believe you're buying from him." Mr. Higurashi simply smirked and handed her one of Naruto's tags. "Go try it out in the back. But stand far away." A few minutes later, a loud explosion shook the backyard. Tenten burst back into the shop, her hair slightly frizzed and her eyes wide. "What the heck was that? If I had stood a little closer, I would have been vaporized." "I did warn you, Mr. Higurashi chuckled. Days passed at the academy, and everyone was surprised by Naruto's growth. Not only had he improved physically, but his theoretical knowledge had also skyrocketed. He was far ahead compared to 6 months ago. One day, Naruto decided to ask Hinata for a spar. "Hey, Hinata, are you free tomorrow? Want to have a sparring match?" Hinata nodded shyly. "I'm free tomorrow, Naruto-kun." The next day, since it was Sunday, they met in a quiet forest near Konoha. "Are you ready?" Naruto asked, getting into the standard academy stance. Hinata nodded hesitantly. Naruto rushed at her, aiming a punch. She quickly raised her hand to block it. But Naruto didn't stop. He kept attacking, fast, focused. Yet all Hinata did was defend. Even when she had clear openings to strike back, she held back. Hesitated. Naruto noticed. To test her, he left a deliberate opening in his guard. But even then, she didn't take the shot. Naruto stopped. "Hinata, is something wrong? Don't you want to spar with me?" he asked, puzzled. Hinata shook her head. "No, Naruto-kun." "Then why do you look like you're not interested?" he asked, his tone gentle but confused. Hinata didn't reply. Naruto frowned. "It seems like you don't want to spar with me. Sorry for bothering you." He turned and began to walk away. Tears welled in Hinata's eyes. She wanted to speak, to call out, but the words caught in her throat. Naruto left the forest without looking back, hurt. Only if he had turned around, he would have seen her tears. The next day, Naruto chose to sit somewhere else in the classroom. It hurt Hinata deeply. She wanted to talk to him, to explain, but she couldn't bring herself to. Days passed like this. Finally, after a week, Hinata gathered her courage and walked up to him. Naruto-kun, she called. Naruto turned to see her standing nearby. Oh, hi Hinata. Something wrong? Can I help you? I want to talk with you, Hinata stammered. Sure, Naruto replied, a little surprised. Not here, after the academy closes, she said. Later that day, after classes ended, Naruto waited outside. Hinata arrived. What is it you wanted to talk about? He asked. Hinata stood silent. Naruto waited patiently. Hinata, he called gently. She flinched slightly. Still silent. Naruto was about to speak again when he saw tears falling from her eyes. His expression changed instantly, concern taking over. Hinata, what happened? Why are you crying? I'm sorry, she finally said, her voice trembling. Hinata, it's okay. I'm not mad at you for what happened, said Naruto, trying to reassure her. It's not that I didn't want to spar with you, I was afraid I might hurt you, Hinata confessed, eyes still watery. Naruto blinked, confused. Hurt me, but it's just a spar, right? We both might get hit, it's normal. Why were you so scared? I don't know, I just had this fear something bad would happen to you. And, my clan's fighting style, it's dangerous. If I'm not careful, it could seriously hurt someone, even kill. Naruto looked at her seriously for a moment. Then he said, Hinata, I'll be fine. It's a spar, not a fight to the death. But if you hold back because you're afraid of hurting me, it'll end up hurting me emotionally instead. Hinata looked up, realization dawning in her eyes. I'm sorry, Naruto, it's okay, really. Then she asked, would you like to spar next Sunday? I'm in, only if you fight me for real, Naruto said with a grin. I'll try, I'm not as strong as you, I might not be able to keep up, she said quietly. Nonsense, I believe you're really strong. If you train hard, you could be one of the strongest in the village. I believe that, really, you believe in me? Hinata asked, eyes wide. Of course, I don't care what anyone says. If you work hard, you'll be strong, no doubt. A new hope began to rise in Hinata. Strong she might be, but the fear of hurting those she loved always held her back. It was the main reason she was seen as unfit by her clan. Her own father considered her a disgrace, and over time, his disappointment had chipped away at her confidence. The attempted kidnapping when she was just a child, followed by the death of her uncle, who died protecting her, left deep scars not just on her body, but on her heart. And then there was her cousin, Neji. More like a brother than a relative, yet his cold, bitter treatment of her only deepened her pain. Will she ever be able to overcome it all? Years of being looked down on. Words that cut deeper than any blade. The heavy burden of her clan's expectations. Healing would take time, but maybe, just maybe, with Naruto's unwavering belief in her, she could begin to change. Maybe he could help her find the strength that was always there, buried deep beneath the doubt. Can Naruto help her heal? Only time, and her own heart, will tell. Status window, legacy system. Name, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Status, civilian. Chakra level, near infinite. Chakra control, 6. Intelligence, 22. Strength, 31. Speed, 24. Agility, 18. Reflexes, 15. Taijutsu, 6. Ninjutsu, 3.5. Genjutsu, 0. Fuinjutsu, 7. Stat points available, 0. Naruto, The Legacy System Chapter 4, The Broken Bond, a Naruto fanfic. Chapter 4, The Broken Bond. The year had flown by, and in just a few days, Naruto would graduate. His progress over the past months had been nothing short of astonishing. In academic tests, physical spars, shuriken and kunai training, and even taijutsu, he was now ahead of everyone. None of the other students could understand how Naruto, who had been completely a joker at dead last just a year and a half ago, had improved so dramatically. If someone were to compare the Naruto of today with the dead last from before, they would think they were two entirely different people. But no one was more proud than Iruka. At first, he had expected Naruto to come to him for help and guidance. But Naruto didn't. Instead, he improved on his own, making progress in leaps and bounds. Over the year, Naruto had also learned a wide array of skills, everything from politics, negotiations, and interrogation tactics, to stealth, espionage, medical ninjutsu, and weapon expertise. When he asked his parents why he was being taught so many things, their answer was simple. They wanted him to become not just an expert in one field, but a master of all aspects of being a shinobi. At the end of the academy term, he began training in genjutsu detection and dispelling. Though he still couldn't perform a genjutsu or medical jutsu, his parents explained that both required fine chakra control, something he still struggled with due to the constant growth of his chakra reserves, a result of both the Kyuubi and his Uzumaki lineage. The system granted him a new ability. He could now allow his parents to see the world through his eyes. Naruto was thrilled. He felt like they were truly sharing his journey. His relationship with Hinata had also improved significantly. Thanks to Naruto's support and encouragement, she had finally overcome her stammering. Though she still struggled with low self-esteem, she was making slow but steady progress. Naruto and his parents could see great potential in her, even if he didn't fully understand why yet. Naruto didn't know about the pain she carried, mental abuse, neglect, and constant belittling from her own family, especially her father. The man who was supposed to protect and love her had instead left scars. The biggest problem for Hinata was that she couldn't bring herself to hurt her family, even during simple sparring sessions. But with Naruto by her side, she no longer let those feelings drag her into despair. The day of graduation finally arrived. The academy was unusually lively, its halls filled not just with students and instructors, but with some of the most powerful and influential people in the village. Clan heads from the Akamichi, Yamanaka, Nara, Hyuga, Aburame, and Inuzuka clans had all gathered, their presence making it clear how important this year's class was. After all, this generation included the heirs of each clan: Ino Yamanaka, Choji Akamichi, Shikamaru Nara, Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame, and, of course, Hinata Hyuga. Even the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, had personally come to witness the event. It wasn't just ceremony, he was here to support and assess the future of Konoha. The written tests had already concluded, followed by the physical assessments. Now came the final and most crucial part: the performance of the three basic academy jutsu: Hench transformation, Kawarimi substitution, and Bunshin clone. Only by successfully performing all three could a student graduate and earn the rank of genin. To Naruto, it felt strange, and frankly, unfair. The idea that a student couldn't become a shinobi just because they failed to master three specific jutsu seemed ridiculous to him. What about the students who had trained tirelessly in taijutsu, or those who had honed their skills with shuriken and developed exceptional stealth? All of that talent, wasted, simply because they struggled with these particular techniques. In that moment, Naruto made a quiet vow to himself: if he ever became Hokage, he would change this system. He believed a true shinobi should be evaluated based on multiple fields of training and strengths, not just on a narrow set of techniques. Drawing from his own struggles and experiences, Naruto resolved to one day reshape the academy's standards for the better. Finally, it was Naruto's turn. Hiruzen watched him closely, anticipation tightening in his chest. It had been over a year and a half since Naruto had last come to visit, not like he used to. That absence had troubled him more than he cared to admit. He knew the boy had failed the academy twice already, and in previous years, Naruto would often come to him, seeking advice and encouragement. But this time, there had been nothing. No questions, no visits, just silence. He remembered the excuse he always gave Naruto whenever the boy asked for help with ninjutsu or other academy studies: "I'm the Hokage, if they see me helping you, they'll say I'm playing favorites." A weak excuse, a cowardly one. In hindsight, Hiruzen could have, should have, at the very least guided him toward better chakra control, explained its importance, given him the foundation to improve on his own. But worse than his inaction was his ignorance. He hadn't even realized that Naruto was being actively sabotaged within the academy. The very institution meant to nurture the next generation had been quietly working against one of its most determined students, and he, the Hokage, hadn't seen it. Mizuki and Iruka stood before Naruto, ready to assess his performance. Just as Naruto began, he paused. Something was off. He felt a disturbance in his chakra, faint, but deliberate. A genjutsu. Instinctively, Naruto traced its source: Mizuki. With a subtle hand movement and controlled chakra pulse, he dispelled it quietly, drawing no attention. Then, with calm precision, he formed the seal for Kawarimi no Jutsu. Puff. In a flash, Naruto vanished, replaced by a log tucked neatly in the corner of the room. A perfect substitution. He returned to his spot, hands already forming the next seal. Henge no Jutsu. A burst of smoke filled the room, and when it cleared, the transformation stunned the audience. Standing where Naruto once was, now stood the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, recreated in perfect detail. From his golden hair even the spikes in Hokage cloak to the gentle, confident expression, it was as though he had returned from the dead. But what came next shook everyone to their core. "So, sensei, how did I do?" asked Naruto, in Minato's exact voice. Gasps echoed around the room from those who knows Minato's voice. Hirazen's pipe slipped from his mouth and clattered to the ground. His mind raced. How does Naruto know Minato's voice? Even the stoic clan heads exchanged shocked glances. Iruka finally found his voice. "Naruto, how can you even change your voice? The transformation jutsu is only supposed to create an illusion, it doesn't alter sound." The room leaned in, eager to hear the answer. Naruto smiled as he dropped the henge, reverting to his true self. "Oh, that wasn't the Academy's henge. I created my own version, it's better than an illusion." "You created your own jutsu?" Iruka asked, astonished. "Yup," Naruto said casually. The silence that followed was heavy with disbelief. Clan heads stared in awe. Students whispered among themselves. A genin, no, an academy student, had created his own jutsu. Then came the final jutsu, clone jutsu. Naruto stepped forward, formed the hand seals, and with a small puff of smoke, a perfect clone appeared beside him. Iruka's eyes narrowed. Something was different. "Wait, Naruto," Iruka said cautiously, "don't tell me, that's not the standard clone, is it?" This question drew confused looks from the clan heads, even from the Hokage himself. Naruto scratched the back of his head, trying to look innocent. "Well, not exactly. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't perform the regular clone jutsu. So, in frustration, I experimented with some different hand signs. One day, a clone appeared next to me. It took me a few days to figure out exactly what I did, but it worked." He smiled, a little too proudly. "This clone can fight, move, talk, do everything I can do." What Naruto didn't say was that this was the shadow clone jutsu, a forbidden technique he had secretly learned. He had no intention of revealing that, not now. Gasps spread through the room. "That sounds like the shadow clone jutsu," one of the clan heads muttered under their breath. "A student performing a B-ranked genjutsu," Choza Akamichi murmured in disbelief, watching the demonstration unfold on the academy grounds. "Troublesome," Shikaku Nara sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "Didn't he say he created it himself?" Inoichi Yamanaka asked, glancing toward the others. "No one helped him," Shikaku replied, eyes narrowing. "But I don't think he even realizes what he did. That wasn't a basic clone technique, he might have accidentally performed the shadow clone jutsu." Ever stoic Hiyashi Hyuga stood with arms crossed, observing Naruto closely from the observation balcony. Silent and composed as always, he activated his Byakugan, his pale eyes glowing faintly as he examined the boy's chakra network. What he saw sent a ripple of shock through him, a rare crack in the Hyuga patriarch's usual calm. "His chakra reserves," Hiyashi murmured, almost to himself. "There, low cage level." The other clan heads turned toward him in surprise, the weight of his words sinking in. "Well, that pup had it in him after all," said Sume Inuzuka, a toothy grin tugging at her lips. Her ninkin growled softly in agreement beside her. "It might be the QB," Choza Akamichi whispered cautiously, glancing around to make sure no unauthorized ears were listening. Hiyashi shook his head firmly. "No, it's his own. I've seen QB chakra before, it's violent, corrosive. This is natural. Balanced. His own chakra, overflowing in volume." A heavy silence fell over the gathered clan heads. For a boy everyone had dismissed as a failure, Naruto Uzumaki was starting to look more and more like something unprecedented, a prodigy hidden behind misjudgment and neglect. Hearing Hiyashi's words, Hiruzen Sarutobi felt a sharp pang in his chest. Low cage level chakra reserves, and it was Naruto's own. "It seems, you've found your own way," Hiruzen thought silently. "You did it without my help. Without anyone's help." He lowered his head slightly, his heart heavy. "I'm sorry, Naruto. I should have guided you. I should have protected you better. Instead, I stood by, making excuses, watching you struggle alone. And still, you rose." From the crowd of students, quiet murmurs began to ripple through the ranks. What happened to Naruto? Did you see that? He created his own jutsu. No way, someone scoffed. Didn't you hear? He did it by accident. Yeah, another student chimed in. It's a fluke, he doesn't even know how he pulled it off. Don't give him credit for something like that. But not everyone was so quick to dismiss what they'd seen. A few watched with wide eyes, not out of judgment, but wonder. For the first time, Naruto Uzumaki had done something no one else in the room had. He broke the rules, and rewrote them. Iruka looked stunned. That's a jutsu usually reserved for Chunin and Jonin. It's advanced, Naruto. Really? Naruto tilted his head. Huh, good to know. Not now, Naruto, Iruka said, still trying to recover. You'll learn more when you reach Chunin. Despite his confusion, Iruka couldn't deny what he saw. Naruto had performed the clone technique. And he had passed. With a proud smile, Iruka stepped forward and tied the forehead protector around Naruto's head. Congratulations, Naruto. You're officially a genin. Naruto beamed and walked off the stage, sitting beside Hinata. Congratulations, Naruto-kun, Hinata said softly, smiling brightly. Thanks, Hinata-chan, Naruto replied, giving her a genuine smile in return. With the final names called, the graduation ceremony concluded. Hiruzen stepped forward, smiling proudly at the new generation of shinobi. Congratulations to all of you. Report back to the academy next week. That's when you'll be assigned to your teams. Naruto turned to Hinata. I hope we end up on the same team. I don't know if it'll happen, Hinata replied honestly, but I'd really like that too. In the far corner of the room, Mizuki stood quietly, his eyes burning with hatred. His plan had been perfect. He had placed a subtle genjutsu on Naruto to disrupt his chakra control, just enough to make him fail. But somehow, it hadn't worked. Naruto had seen through it. And worse, he had passed. That ruined everything. Mizuki gritted his teeth. His plan to use Naruto as a scapegoat to steal the scroll of seals had failed. But not all hope was lost. Now, he turned his thoughts toward the other students who had failed the exam. Maybe, just maybe, he could manipulate one of them instead. The day had passed in a blur of excitement and disbelief. Naruto rushed into his apartment, practically bursting with energy. Slamming the door behind him, he grinned ear to ear and closed his eyes, entering the calm of his mindscape, a place where he could speak to the ones he held dearest. The familiar warmth of the sealed chamber greeted him. Standing there, waiting with open arms, were Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, smiling proudly. Ka-san, Tu-san, Naruto shouted, running toward them. See, I finally did it, I'm a ninja. Kushina swept him into a tight hug while Minato placed a hand on his son's shoulder, his blue eyes gleaming with pride. We're so proud of you, Naruto, Kushina whispered. You've taken your first big step, Minato added. And you did it your way. Naruto's grin widened. Now I'm one step closer to becoming Hokage. Just then, a chime echoed in his mind. A translucent blue system screen popped into view. Congratulations, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, on graduating from the academy. Reward unlocked. Power pull. Before he could even react, a red staff appeared in his hands, sleek, polished, and faintly humming with power. The system's voice continued. Item. Power pull. The legendary staff wielded by Sun Wukong. A magical weapon capable of infinite extension upon the user's command. It is unbreakable and can now channel elemental chakra to enhance its destructive power. As a system-bound item, if lost, it will return to the system vault. Only the user may wield it unless explicit permission is granted. With a soft chime, the system interface vanished. Naruto stared at the staff in awe. Whoa, try it out, Minato encouraged with a smile. Naruto gripped the pole and shouted, Power pull, extend. The staff shot forward, growing rapidly until it struck the far wall of his apartment with a loud clang. He laughed in amazement. Retract, he commanded, and it immediately returned to its original size. Do you like it, Naruto? Kushina asked, her voice filled with amusement at his boyish wonder. Naruto nodded rapidly, eyes gleaming. It's awesome, it can stretch infinitely and it's unbreakable. Minato chuckled. Better get used to it. I have a feeling this staff is going to become your favorite weapon. Naruto grinned proudly, holding the staff aloft like a hero from the old tales. Well, who wouldn't love a magical staff that can beat up bad guys and never breaks? At the Hokage's office, chaos had erupted. Chunin, Anbu, and every available Jonin had been mobilized for an emergency search. The reason? The scroll of sealing, the forbidden scroll containing Konoha's most dangerous jutsu, had gone missing. Even worse, there was one suspect, Naruto Uzumaki. Among the most shocked was Iruka Umino, who was already sprinting toward Naruto's apartment, disbelief etched across his face. Naruto, he thought, why would he steal something like that, and how would he even know about it being stored in the Hokage's office? Arriving at Naruto's apartment, Iruka didn't hesitate. He pounded on the door, heart racing. Coming, came Naruto's muffled voice from inside. A few tense seconds later, the door opened, revealing a surprised and slightly confused Naruto. "Hey, Iruka-sensei, what are you doing here so late?" Without a word, Iruka grabbed Naruto by the shoulders, eyes wide with urgency. "Tell me, why did you steal the scroll of sealing?" he barked. Naruto flinched at the sudden outburst. What? Scroll? Stole? What are you talking about, Iruka-sensei? You mean you don't know?" Iruka asked, slightly pulling back. "The scroll of sealing, it's a forbidden scroll that holds some of Konoha's most dangerous jutsu. If it falls into enemy hands, the entire village could be destroyed. The Hokage saw you take it." Naruto's eyes widened in shock. "I swear, I don't even know what that is. Why would I take something like that? I've been here the whole time since I came back from the academy." Iruka narrowed his eyes, searching Naruto's face for any sign of a lie. But all he saw was confusion and fear. "Do you realize the entire village is searching for you right now?" Naruto's face turned pale. "What? But I didn't do anything. Someone's framing me." "Framing you?" Iruka repeated, frowning. "Why would anyone do that?" "I don't know," Naruto snapped, his voice trembling. "But, today during the final exam, when I was doing the 3 jutsu, Mizuki-sensei used a genjutsu on me. He tried to mess with my chakras so I'd fail." Iruka froze. That name hit him like a punch to the gut. Mizuki. Now that he thought about it, Mizuki had been strangely absent throughout the current crisis. Not helping in the search, not checking in. Nothing. Iruka clenched his fists. He didn't want to believe it, but something was clearly wrong. "Okay," Iruka said, calming his voice. "Naruto, I need you to come with me to the Hokage Tower." Naruto shook his head firmly. "No, if I go there now, they'll arrest me before I get a chance to prove I'm innocent. I have to find out who did this and why. I can't clear my name unless I have proof." Iruka hesitated, then slowly nodded. Naruto's reasoning was sound, and his determination was real. "All right," Iruka agreed, "you can come with me. But if we run into trouble, you stay back, understood?" Naruto gave a sharp nod. "Got it," and with that, the two vanished into the night, determined to uncover the truth before it was too late. Deep within the forests of Konoha, Mizuki sprinted through the trees, the massive scroll of sealing tied tightly to his back. Moonlight flickered between the branches above, but all Mizuki could see was red, rage, frustration, and panic. "Damn it," he hissed under his breath. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. At first, it had been a simple plan. He'd wanted Naruto to fail again, humiliate the boy, reinforce his status as a nobody. But Naruto hadn't failed. Something had gone wrong. That clone technique, it had worked. Worse, the kid had drawn more attention than ever. So Mizuki had pivoted. He approached the other students who had failed, whispering promises of power and second chances. "Steal the scroll," he had told them. "Use one of the forbidden jutsu. Prove your worth. No one will ever doubt you again." But none of them had the nerve. They all paled at the thought of breaking into the Hokage's office. Pathetic. That left him with nothing, until the idea hit him like a kunai to the head. Why not just use henge? Mizuki had transformed into Naruto, easy enough, thanks to years of watching the boy. He'd snuck into the office just after sunset, grabbed the scroll, and vanished before anyone could react. Now, the entire village thought Naruto Uzumaki had committed the crime. Perfect, Mizuki growled with a cruel grin. That little brat's reputation will be shattered. He'll be locked away, hated even more than before, and I'll be long gone, with the scroll and power no one ever dreamed of. He leapt over a fallen log, landing lightly on a branch ahead. But even as he ran, a small part of him was on edge. If the Hokage sent Anbu, all need to disappear soon. Fast. Still, everything was going according to plan. Naruto would be blamed. The village would never look at him the same again. And Mizuki, he would walk away with the keys to power. Naruto and Iruka were racing through the village outskirts, the trees of the Konoha forest quickly approaching. Iruka-sensei, Naruto called out between breaths. If you were trying to steal the scroll of sealing and escape, which route would you take? Iruka didn't slow down, but his eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Through the forest. It's the fastest way out without being seen. Which side? Naruto pressed. That made Iruka skid to a halt, mind racing. He pictured the layout of the village, recalling the security patterns and terrain. Only one route made sense. This way, he pointed sharply. If we go full speed, we might catch up before he gets past the border. They both took off again, but this time, Naruto surged ahead. He had dropped his training weights earlier, and now his unburdened body moved faster than Iruka had ever seen. Minutes later, they reached the edge of the forest. Naruto came to a sudden stop, crouching low, scanning the ground. Look, he said, pointing to fresh footprints in the soil. He passed through here, recently. Iruka nodded. Let's follow. We're close. Meanwhile, deeper in the forest, Mizuki was nearly free. The trees were thinning. Just a few more minutes and he'd be beyond Konoha's outer limits, free to disappear with the scroll and use its forbidden jutsu to gain power far from the village's reach. He smirked to himself. Almost there. But then, he skidded to a halt. Standing at the forest's edge were 4 Chunin. Shit, Mizuki muttered, ducking behind a tree. I can't take on 4 Chunin, not with the scroll slowing me down. Suddenly, thwack, a powerful kick slammed into his back, sending him sprawling face first into the dirt. The scroll unrolled slightly beside him. Looks like my guess was right, came a familiar voice, sharp with fury. This bastard really did try to frame me. Mizuki groaned and pushed himself up, turning his head. Naruto Uzumaki, flanked by Iruka, stood just a few feet away, glaring. Shit, I was caught, by him of all people. Mizuki's thoughts spiraled in panic as he clenched his fists. This wasn't over. Not yet, Mizuki scoffed. TCH, guess there's no point pretending anymore. He stepped out from behind the trees. But tell me, Naruto, how did you know it was me? And how did you know I'd come this way? Naruto crossed his arms, eyes sharp. Simple. If you hadn't tried to mess with my chakra using a genjutsu, I wouldn't have suspected anything. You were hoping to frame me. Mizuki's eyes narrowed. Naruto smirked. And as for finding you here, that's thanks to Iruka-sensei. Iruka stepped forward. Mizuki, why are you doing this? Mizuki burst into laughter, wild, unhinged. Why? You're asking me why? Ha, why wouldn't I? Power. Iruka, with enough power, I don't have to be second to anyone. Not to you, not to the Hokage, to no one. Iruka shook his head, sadness in his eyes. I'm sorry, Mizuki, but I have no choice. I'm bringing you in. Mizuki sneered. Really, you think you can stop me? He dropped into a battle stance. Then come try. Iruka drew his kunai. Mizuki mirrored him, eyes narrowed with hostility. Their blades clashed. Steel rang against steel, as sparks flew in the moonlit forest. Both men fought evenly, locked in a stalemate, neither giving ground. Then Mizuki smirked. Let's see how you handle this. With a sudden burst of speed, he dashed past Iruka and grabbed Naruto, pressing a kunai to his throat. Now, Iruka, Mizuki sneered, drop your weapon, or the brat dies. Iruka froze, eyes wide. Mizuki, don't. The commotion drew the attention of 2 gate-guarding Chunin. They landed nearby, kunai in hand, assessing the situation. Mizuki barked at them. Stay back, let me go, or he dies. The Chunin didn't move. They waited, tensed, ready to strike. Then, puff, Naruto vanished in a cloud of smoke. A shadow clone. Mizuki gasped. Before he could react, a fist slammed into his back, knocking him forward. He staggered, spinning to see Naruto standing there with a cocky smirk. Did you really think you could take me hostage? Naruto scoffed. I painted the entire Hokage monument in broad daylight, and not even the Anbu caught me. What made you think you could? Mizuki's face twisted in rage. You'll pay for this. He lunged forward, kunai raised to slash at Naruto's throat, but Naruto's hand shot up, smacking the weapon aside. Then came a brutal gut punch. Goo, Mizuki gasped, staggering from the blow. But Naruto didn't let up. He moved like a storm, fists and feet flying in a blur. Mizuki couldn't block or counter. Every strike landed clean and precise. Iruka and the Chunin stood frozen, eyes wide. What is this? Iruka thought in awe. I've never seen this taijutsu style before, it's not in any library scrolls of red. With a final spinning kick, Naruto's foot crashed into Mizuki's stomach. Crack! Mizuki's eyes bulged as he flew back, coughing blood before collapsing to the ground, unconscious. Mizuki rose to his feet, a cruel smirk on his face. You've grown, demon brat, but tell me, do you even know why everyone in this village hates you? Iruka's expression darkened. No, don't tell him. He lunged forward to stop Mizuki, but Mizuki struck him hard, sending him crashing to the ground. Turning back to Naruto, Mizuki snarled, 12 years ago, when the Nine Tails attacked the village, the fourth Hokage sealed it inside you. That means you are the Nine Tails. You killed countless people, even Iruka's parents, even Iruka hates you. Naruto's eyes narrowed for just a moment, but he quickly masked it with confusion. He clenched his fists and forced a shaky voice. No, that's not true. Mizuki laughed coldly. Oh, it's true, demon. Why do you think the whole village looks at you like a monster? Why do you think you've always been alone? Naruto's heart pounded. He already knew the truth. He had known for a while now. But hearing it thrown at him like this, in front of Iruka, still hurt. Yet he didn't let it show. No, it's not the truth, Iruka shouted, struggling to his feet. Don't believe him, Naruto. You are not the Nine Tails. He turned toward Naruto, eyes full of emotion. You're you, Naruto Uzumaki. At first, I was wary of you too, but over the years, I've watched you. I've seen how hard you've worked, how kind you are. I came to see you as a little brother. Iruka's voice trembled. So please, Naruto, don't let his words get to you. With that, Iruka turned and landed a solid punch on Mizuki's jaw, knocking him out cold. Naruto stood in stunned silence, but for the first time in a long while, his heart felt warm. Someone had stood up for him. Someone didn't hate him. Through the system's gaze, Minato and Kushina watched the scene unfold. Tears welled in their eyes. Their son finally had someone. Just then, a group of Anbu landed around them. One of them stepped forward. Mizuki will be taken into custody. Naruto, Iruka, you're to report to the Hokage's office with the scroll. Naruto nodded quietly, still holding the scroll, and Iruka's words, close to his heart. An Anbu appeared beside them in a swirl of leaves. In an instant, Naruto and Iruka were transported to the Hokage's office. While Iruka began explaining everything that had happened, Naruto stood silently in the corner. His eyes drifted down to the scroll he still carried. Curious, he slowly unrolled it. His eyes widened as he read the forbidden techniques written inside. Shadow Clone Jutsu, its advanced variant Shuriken Clone Jutsu, and something far darker, Edo Tensei. He barely noticed Iruka's voice in the background as he kept reading. Hokage-sama, Iruka said finally, Mizuki told Naruto about his condition. Hiruzen let out a heavy sigh. He turned his gaze toward Naruto, and froze for a moment. The boy's eyes met his. There was no fear or confusion in them, only quiet contempt, and a deep, simmering anger. It pierced through the old man more sharply than any blade. Iruka, Hiruzen said softly, not breaking eye contact with Naruto, would you mind stepping outside for a moment? I'd like to speak to him alone. Iruka hesitated, then nodded. Of course, Lord Hokage. He cast one last glance at Naruto before walking out and gently closing the door behind him. There is silence. Hiruzen looked at Naruto with a soft expression. Naruto, are you alright? Naruto said nothing. The air in the room grew heavy. Then, his glare locked onto the old man. His voice, low and cold, cut through the silence. So, how long did you plan to play with me? How long were you going to keep me in the dark? Hiruzen's shoulders tensed. It's not like that, it was classified as an S-class secret. Naruto laughed bitterly, his voice laced with mockery. Yeah, an S-class secret. Funny how the entire village seemed to know, except me. Hiruzen winced at the words. It was meant to protect you. So you could have a normal childhood. Naruto scoffed. Normal childhood? Then tell me, honestly. Can you say, with your hand on your heart, that I had a normal childhood? The Hokage remained silent. Naruto's voice grew sharper. I was hated, feared, sabotaged. I failed the academy twice because my instructors gave me empty scrolls, except Iruka. I was chased by mobs. Beaten. He stepped closer, his fists clenched. Do you call that a childhood? Hiruzen finally spoke, his voice almost a whisper. I didn't want to burden you. Your status. Naruto cut him off, eyes burning. Didn't want to burden me. But you had no problem sending kids to war in the last great ninja war. Children my age, some even younger. You're telling me the truth was too much for me, but getting beaten in alleyways, being banished from stores, and sold rotten food at 3 times the price was acceptable. A suffocating silence followed. Hiruzen looked down, the weight of guilt pressing on his shoulders. Naruto's eyes narrowed, voice rising with fury. And this, S-class secret, was about me. And you didn't think I had the right to know. Tell me, how many times did I ask you why the village hated me? What did you say to me? He took a step forward, voice trembling with anger. You said they feared what they didn't understand. That's the lie you fed me, wasn't it? Hiruzen's mouth opened, but no words came. Naruto didn't stop. I came to you so many times asking for help. About the academy, about the instructors. You did nothing. I was sabotaged again and again. I didn't know, Hiruzen said quietly, guilt flashing across his face. Naruto glared at him, his voice suddenly low and sharp. I don't know anymore. Maybe you had a hand in it. Maybe, you hate me too, for being the Jinchuriki. Hiruzen's eyes widened in shock. Naruto, he gasped, but Naruto cut him off coldly. If this was really an S-class secret, then explain something to me. How did the entire village find out? If this is the kind of security you're proud of, then it's no wonder Konoha will one day fall to its enemies. Hiruzen looked down, ashamed. It was Danzo, he admitted at last. One of the council elders, and my former teammate. Along with a member of the civilian council. I had issued a decree, anyone who leaked the truth would be executed. Naruto stared at him, unblinking. And yet, he said bitterly, you let them go. As if nothing ever happened. I didn't have proof, Hiruzen replied, his voice strained. Danzo works from the shadows. I couldn't move against him without evidence. Naruto's voice grew colder, his eyes like steel. Well then, you've failed as Hokage too. If you can't even guard a secret, how can you protect the village? He took another step forward. Tell me, what did Danzo gain by leaking my secret? Hiruzen's expression turned grim. He planned to use you as a weapon, a mindless tool for his own ambitions. He lowered his gaze. I'll admit, I failed in many ways to protect you, Naruto. But I succeeded in one thing. I stopped Danzo from laying his hands on you. Naruto let out a short, bitter laugh. Really, do you think you can still fool me, Hokage-sama? Hiruzen flinched. That title, spoken with such sarcasm and contempt, cut deeper than any blade. Naruto had never called him that before. Naruto's voice sharpened. Let me ask you something else. Do you know who my parents were? Hiruzen hesitated. They died protecting the village. They gave their lives to save it. Naruto's eyes darkened. That's not what I asked. I asked, did you know them? Because many shinobi died protecting this village. Were they just names to you too? Hiruzen looked away. That's not relevant right now. Naruto's jaw clenched. His fists trembled at his sides. That's it. That's the last straw. I don't know if I can ever trust you again, Hokage-sama. All this time, you lied to me. Over and over. I did it to protect you, Hiruzen said quietly. But Naruto's voice was unrelenting. If you really wanted to protect me, you would have told me the truth from the beginning. You wouldn't have kept me in the dark. And let's be honest, if Mizuki hadn't said anything tonight, you would have never told me. With that, Naruto turned and walked out of the office, slamming the door behind him. Hiruzen collapsed into his chair, the weight of his years and regrets pressing down on him like never before. His voice trembled as he whispered to the empty room. I'm sorry, Minato, Kushina, and you too, Naruto. Status window, legacy system. Name, Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki. Status, civilian. Chakra level, near infinite. Chakra control, 9. Intelligence, 30. Strength, 35. Speed, 30. Agility, 23. Reflexes, 20. Taijutsu, 9. Ninjutsu, 4.5. Genjutsu, 2. Fuinjutsu, 9. Stat points available, 0. That's all for now, but hey guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for further updates on awesome content. See y'all next time.